one-sided each time that felt I didn't complain that he won all 3 times.
Well, the first fight was a draw, I thought. I thought the first fight was a draw.
No.
I'm pretty sure the first fight was a draw.
I think Fury won.
Okay.
Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck have you been? And how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Nice to be back. A rare 4-day weekend for the two of us. I think we're all in good spirits.
Even Felipe.
Well, are you kidding? Felipe was the boss since we've been gone. Best of show Friday, best of show yesterday. Apparently there were 60 key seconds that needed to be filled yesterday. He jumps right in with a true ad lib. One of those you look over at the computer and you go, holy blank, we're coming up short.
All heat for 60 seconds?
I sprinkled a little heat talk in there, yeah.
60 good seconds.
Well, you could tell. 56 more seconds like what you just got.
Right. Riveting.
I'm sure it was amazing. Although, very good reaction on the text line and, what have you. So well done, Felipe. Thanks for allowing us to take a moment or two to enjoy some time over the Easter holiday with our family. And it's rare that I get a chance to be with, I don't
all
have a
of
big
your family,
right? But mom, mother-in-law, wife, daughter, granddaughter. Man. That's even my godson.
So you had your godson there as well.
Right.
That's as many as you can get. That's as many as you can get. That's a full load of Moultons. That's as many as you can have in one room.
I very rarely am ever at an event where we are searching for more chairs, and we needed an extra chair.
Wow.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Good for you. Good. I just want to let you know, in case you were wondering, ham and lamb.
Look at that. A banner Easter Sunday then.
Ham at brunch, lamb for dinner.
Look at that. Wow.
Fantastic.
It sounds it.
It was.
Now I'm hungry.
No, not even close. I'll work you up by 7. I'll have you into a frenzy.
Miller and Moulton, hope you all had a great Easter holiday, whether you partake or not. It is nice to be back in full swing. It was a nice little sports weekend that we were, out and about for. Good golf tournament with some names in amongst the 10 that were vying there to win it. Had a new football league, Mark. That's an old football league that is new again.
Yep, they're playing neutral site games. And, David, I know it happened. I was aware that it happened. I even thought about watching it.
So you thought about watching it.
I put the channel on that it was on, and it was in a commercial. And then I realized there was a lot more on at that time. And I'm not being smart because the Heat were playing. It was Sunday. The Heat had the 1 o'clock game. You had a Panther Red Wing game on. You had the golf on, which was riveting from the get-go. So I ended up watching a lot of the RBC Heritage,
right,
and watched the Heat.
Okay.
So I did not partake in the USFL, a.k.a. the Birmingham Football League.
First off, Felipe was at said Heat game, and he is wearing his 05-06 Heat Championship T-shirt.
His dad's 05-06 Heat Championship.
It has
that
to
he
be.
Stole.
It has to be because I think when they won the championship, Felipe was 2 or 3.
Right. He was in a 4T at that point.
Right. They hadn't even started sending him to preschool just to get him out of the house. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that your parents got you out of the house and into school the first day that was legally allowed. that they are like, we got to get this kid out of the house.
Yeah.
Just went out on a limb there.
My mom's also been working as a teacher for 30 years now.
I understand, but you're a little rambunctious. So that's why I figured, not knowing your brother, not knowing your family dynamic, just knowing you a smidge, that your parents looked at one another and said, well, we got to get this one out of the house. But he was at the Heat game, and they obviously looked good, played well. We'll talk a little Heat a little bit later on in the show. Now my godson plays college football, and he strives to play it. He doesn't play it at the highest level, but he's striving to. He's taking calls, Mark.
Gotcha.
I mean, for a weekend, I was his agent. We were talking.
Oh, no.
We were talking about life and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay, wait a minute. The two of you were talking?
Yes.
He didn't allow you to talk to anybody else.
No, I wouldn't do that to the young man. No.
Wow, I was scared for a moment for him.
No, because I'd feel badly if I screwed things up. It's one thing for me to screw things up for me. I feel badly enough when I screw things up for us. All right. But I mean, it's family, for goodness sakes. If I screwed it up for him, I'd feel really badly. I mean, for a good hour and a half. And so I didn't want to do that to myself.
Good.
But he was all in because he apparently knows a couple of the guys that are in the league. And by the league, I mean the USFL. So Saturday night, Mark, it was appointment viewing in the family weekend. I mean, appointment viewing. Like, we were all together at like 7:20. And the hotel that myself, my mom, and my godson were staying at, all right, because the wife, of course, has to be with the grandchild.
Yeah.
Right. She's sleeping in a spare bedroom.
Right.
And she, of course, wants no part of me. So, I'm sleeping in a hotel. And it's 7:20. And apparently this USFL thing is kicking off at 7:30. And I know that because the 6'8" godson stands up and says, hey, we're missing the opening kickoff. We got to go. Oh, who knew?
Wow.
Yeah. So a hotel like 6 minutes away, bada bing, bada boom. We're walking in. He stops in the lobby as they're doing introductions. I'm like, hey, this ain't the XFL, man. They ain't, going to throw a football out there and somebody's going to dislocate their shoulder. I mean, come on, let's go. All right, we can get upstairs to the room. You apparently have to see this. So, yeah, I must admit, I spent my Saturday night with the USFL.
Would you have spent your night with the USFL had you not been with him?
Certainly not the whole night, but I would have turned it on. All right, I would have gotten back to the room and I would have turned it on.
What channel did you watch it on?
Fox.
Did you flip back and forth to the simulcast?
I did, because I just wanted to see whether or not they provided their own announcer or announcers. Was it at all different on NBC? And it wasn't. It wasn't. So I checked that out.
Okay. Would have liked to do about a little different camera angle here and there. Give me something.
Well, they experimented, to say the least. But that's part of why I was in, because whether this football is decent or not, whether these broadcasts are decent or not, there is going to be stuff that is going to come from these broadcasts that we're going to see going forward in our NFL broadcasts, whether it happens immediately in September or it's a year from September. But I mean, that's really the legacy. I mean, the original USFL 35 years ago, its legacy was actually the players who ended up coming in and being stars in many cases in the NFL. It was like, hey, this was legitimate football. But all the other leagues in the last 35 years, whatever legacies they've had, have either been stiffing people for money or the technological advances that then work their way into NFL broadcasts. And so I watched as much as the broadcaster goober in me going, that was interesting. They did an entire drive in the third quarter, and it was a long drive. It was one of those 7-minute, lot of running drives in which the announcers didn't speak. And they used only on-field mics, and the coach was mic'd, and he called the plays, and the quarterback was mic'd. And it was tremendous television. Announcers didn't speak for the whole drive. It worked. That was the best part of the 3 hours.
Even not knowing who any of the players really were.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because in thinking about that, as you're watching it, I can see it in a college game. I can see it in an NFL game. But now you're talking about a USFL league in which you probably, most people couldn't name 5 players while watching it, who they are.
Right.
And it still worked.
Yes. That part of it worked. They said they were going to try things. They used the drone in some ways that were just, dizzying, actually. It was like, I know what you're trying to, like, they tried to use a drone from behind the field goal kicker on extra points, and they started at ground level, and then they tried to go up with the ball, and it was harrowing. It was like a flight gone bad. Like, all of a sudden the plane's not going to land. It has to go back up quickly and circle again before it lands. It was like, oh, don't do that again. So, they're trying some things. Sometimes there was too much sound, believe it or not. They had too many microphones open. They had a bunch of microphones and shoulder pads. You heard a lot of crunching. They had a decent number of helmet cams. It was kind of fascinating. A couple of times they showed a running back in which you could literally see what the running back is seeing. That was kind of cool. But so they're clearly experimenting. I found myself for a Saturday night surprisingly entertained. Now, maybe it was the company I was with. I was with my mom. I was with my godson. I don't see them, either one of them, very often. And I was in good spirits. I was with family. But I was in. I watched all 3 hours.
And, David, nothing says spending quality time with family like spending a Saturday night watching USFL football. In retrospect, I should have spent some time with my family and watched USFL football as well. No wonder you were in such great spirits. Hey, haven't seen you in 6 to 8 months. We're going to watch the USFL game now.
Mark, we had seen one another from Thursday afternoon, and then all day and night Friday, and all day Saturday.
Oh, you were sick of them by then.
I don't
the
say
weekend's
sick
over.
of them, but we put it this way. That drive in the third quarter in which there were no announcers, that's kind of what family was like by 7:30, 8 o'clock on Saturday after 3 days together.
I got you.
It's kind of like we could just sit here and watch this game together. We don't really need to talk much anymore. We've caught up. Our lives are not that interesting. That's what we've realized.
That's why there's a granddaughter to ooh and ah over, David.
Exactly. So, but I will say, I found myself surprisingly entertained. Good game, decided in the final 2 minutes. Started off great, ended great. The middle, had its moments. It was, rough spots, decent spots. But
so bad football with some decent technology and a good ending and a good beginning.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was bad football, but it was below average football. It wasn't atrocious football. Put it that way.
But they got you for the whole game.
Totally.
So there's nowhere to go but up for this league if you're telling me the product wasn't that good and you still watched that much of it.
Right. Plus, it was the stands were full Saturday night. Sunday, there were 17 people there.
Miller and Moulton, hoping that there's more than 17 people listening right now. We thank all of you, all 65 of you, for listening on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Arch rival that's so good you can't think.
Yeah, I never remember anybody ever hating Boston.
No.
Like you hated Potvin because he was a prick.
You know,
You hated Smith.
right. You know, Trottier was so good, you know, but
Like Clark Gillies you could hate because
Sure,
he was chippy and physical
right.
and
right. Same with Trottier. Okay, you could actually kind of be pissed off at Brian Trottier. Nobody got mad at Mike Bossy. Nobody even tried to fight him, and he was very anti-fighting.
there was a guy that played in Saginaw the same way. I forgot that name. Paul Evans was just one of those players. Ended up playing a little bit for the Kings. Was just one of those players that even in that tough era, there was just guys didn't go after. Just a common respect, which there wasn't a lot of that then.
I guess they went 22 of 47 shooting the three, Dallas.
Is that the late game?
No, that was the middle game.
The late game was your shirt.
Oh, that's right. Trust me, I was in bed by end of the middle third of Philly, somewhere in there.
My roommate took this video of how I ended up watching the Warriors game.
Give you a cookie. That was nice.
Yeah,
Though.
yeah. Oh my God.
Morning, Spitz. Jeff Fisher with his hat on backwards, too.
KW. The Empire. They are the Empire.
Got to admit, Boston Brooklyn on Sunday was.
Oh man,
that was good stuff.
That game delivered. I was watching it on my phone on Alligator Alley.
Yeah, I don't understand why he was penalized the 2 strokes either. The guy who hit the ball out of the tree.
Stance?
Something about
Are you straddling the ball? You can't straddle the ball is the way I read it.
Yeah, I didn't.
I never.
KW, that's
pretty much the name of their season.
Who are the Warriors?
Mm-hmm. The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, but they'd have to be they're not an evil empire. I don't think people hate them the way they hate
They're
them.
not an evil empire.
To you.
No.
They won
Warriors.
73 games and then added Kevin Durant.
I understand that people don't hate the Warriors, though.
They
Well,
don't.
now, no. But
They didn't really then. They didn't like Durant for joining him, but nobody hates Steph. Everybody loves Steph.
right. But they were
It wasn't the Warriors' fault. They were angry at Durant. Now, I will say they rooted for LeBron the 1 year against, when Durant joined.
Who's he going to throw to?
come back.
Well, Sammy Watkins.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Hope you had an enjoyable holiday. We did. Nice to be back, however. 9 days away from the NFL draft. Week from Thursday night. We're going to do that live Twitch broadcast thing for about 4 or 5 hours.
That's what we do, right?
It is. It's a big night for us because we need a bunch of you to follow us. This is Mark's last chance to win the bet, to reach 1,000 followers by July 4th. We're close to 800. And the way we've got it, figured out, we gain about 2 followers a show. We're not going to get there. So Mark needs an uprising a week from Thursday night when we drink a little and we analyze a little and we have fun from about 7 to midnight, first round of the NFL draft.
We take it as seriously as we take anything, but we do have fun with it. And David's always been anti-draft shows in this facet, that they focus too much on the player and not enough on the team and what team needs are and what one move by one team, the trickle effect that has. When they start making the run on tackles, whenever that happens, when the run on receivers comes, how is that going to affect the teams that are drafting in the 20s, perhaps, of how that's going to go? And that's a little bit, I think, how we approach the draft.
That's what interests us. The way that the networks cover the draft, though, is, Nakobe Dean. Get the Nakobe Dean highlight package together. Let's tell everybody who's watching who already knows about Nakobe Dean more about Nakobe Dean.
So we will do the show from our respective homes. I will say we're up for bidding. We'll have it at your house if you pay enough money.
You think he's kidding. He's not. And by enough money, I mean $57.53 might do the trick.
No kidding that David's not negotiating this, but it'll take a little more than that, but not much. Not much.
Miller and Moulton here on a Tuesday. Got a good show lined up for you. A little more than an hour from now. This is for Felipe. I don't know if he's going to be able to speak. You know how occasionally we book guests and
he was beside himself.
I cannot believe that you got Tony Fiorentino.
We've had him on the show for 15 years.
He's the man.
He is Mr.
Coach
Miami Heat.
Are you going to be able to talk to him and say hello when you have to put him on the line? Or are you going to stumble and bumble through that?
I'm going to call him a little earlier.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Poor guy. He's probably going to hang up by the time he gets to the actual interview. He's going to be like, I already did an interview.
Kid, it's 7 a.m. Come on. Go with the questions. Just put me on the show, please.
He'll join us in a little more than an hour. Pat Kirwan will join us in our 8 o'clock hour, and he was scheduled to join us on Thursday.
Right.
We had some phone difficulties. We think we've worked them out. Rob Ellis, because we want to talk to somebody from each of the 8 cities/franchises that have multiple first-round picks.
And we've been getting there. We were all set to talk to Rob when the phones went kaflooey last week.
So the Eagles with the 2 first-round picks at 15 and 18. We'll talk a lot of Eagles. We'll also talk a little Sixers, up 2-0 and up 2-0 easily over the Raptors. I thought the Raptors, and I still think the Raptors will give them quite a series, but so far they haven't.
Yeah, last night was a huge win, especially going to Toronto now.
See, here we go. So
it's time. It's time. You guys aren't ready.
Almost, as one of the hosts of the show, I was going to say, didn't we kind of talk about this series when it shifts to Toronto? That's when the whole series starts. So we will find out. But thank you for that, Phil.
Well, also, I book Tony Fiorentino. It's over. Just too much excitement over there. I knew it as we were booking it. I knew it. I'm like, oh man. First time we had David Sampson on for the young lad who grew up in Miami. He's like, what? You got David Sampson? And so, fortunately, we've been able to keep him a part of the show after Felipe slobbered all over him for 5 minutes during a commercial break. And hopefully we can do the same with Tony in a little more than an hour.
God forbid we ever get a big-time NBA player. I don't know what Philly's going to do on the other side.
And if we get LeBron again.
That's not happening. I'm sorry.
Well, it probably isn't. When we got him, we're like, wait, do we have LeBron on the line? So you're right. We probably won't get him, but I'm just saying. If so, composure, young man. Deep breath.
Oh, yeah.
Composure.
I usually am composed.
No,
I
you're
just
not.
have a moment of like, whoa, what's? Hey, how's it going? Yeah, how's it going?
Huh.
And then you switch
Actually,
it
you
to-
don't. That's part
You
of the
lack
whole
composure.
right. And it's okay.
You're young.
We try to use it to our advantage most of the time. Just a little fearful for 1 hour from now. How much hoops did you watch this weekend?
Watched a lot of the Heat game. Watched a lot of Philly last night. A little bit here and there other than that.
Loved the Boston-Brooklyn game, not only because it was a great game, but Mark, it has the one component that you can't manufacture.
Hate.
Yes, it's either legitimate, it's organic, or it's contrived and it doesn't work.
Well, and one thing you never have to worry about from a Boston fan is contrived hate.
Right.
Their hate is real.
Yes, it is.
It got him a double bird, and that's
did.
not Larry and Sue.
Well played.
Thank you. And it was a terrific game.
Yes, it was.
And we thought it was going to be a terrific series. It started out that way. But you're right, David. For 2.5 hours, that was hate. In the TD Gardens there, whatever.
Whatever it's called now. Right.
And the Boston fan was worked up walking into the arena.
They hate Kyrie, and Kyrie doesn't like them back. And so they shouted nasty things at him, and he talked back to them and showed them on a couple of occasions that he thinks they're number one. And it was outstanding.
It really was.
And it looked like Kyrie was going to get the last word until the last possible second when the Celtics didn't. But it made you wanting.
What a crazy ending, too.
It was outstanding. Outstanding.
Chaotic. They didn't even call timeout.
And they don't call timeout. And he is a first-year head coach who has been criticized a lot this year for not calling timeouts down the stretch. And he specifically said they went with a small lineup for their final possession. I wanted to go against that group defensively. And, it worked out. But he also said, like, they grabbed the rebound with 15, 16 seconds to go. And he felt if it was stagnant or what have you, he would have called timeout. But he liked the way they were moving the ball. And so he just said, okay, I'm going to let this play out. And it worked.
And the defense that they put the possession right before the game winner, they locked KD and Kyrie down.
Yeah, I mean, they did give up 114 points. I mean, they didn't get a lot of stops. A lot is being made. They got one stop. One.
I think it showed you just how good Kyrie and KD were because I actually thought the defense was really good. I mean, there were stretches in which they played really hard defense throughout the game. I mean, throughout the entire game, and yet they did get to 114.
Right.
So I thought it was actually the occasion you can have both.
Yep.
You can play your ass off on defense, and sometimes the other team's really good and they score.
We said they have two guys who basically you can't guard. You just hope they miss.
Yeah.
And that's KD and Kyrie. And, they missed once down the stretch. And the Celtics, I think, scored on like their last 6 or 7 possessions. So it was magnificent basketball. It really was.
Kyrie had 18 in the fourth quarter.
And 39 for the game, I think. 39-41, something like that.
And as someone pointed out in the Twitch chat room, that series should end sometime around mid-May.
That's okay. It's okay if the games are remotely like this last one, to be honest with you. We in the NBA will take it. The starting 5 is next. Thanks so much for waking up with us, Miller and Moulton, I should say, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Look at them. Caps in the dugout.
I love those home Boston jerseys because they always make me think of Poppy's speech after the Boston bombing. Oh,
Have you seen Torkelson? Like, he had a rough first couple games, but he looks like a stud.
I like that they just start. Oh, Shark premieres tonight at 8:30, huh?
this jersey that we wear today, it does not say Red Sox. It say Boston. So game 7 of the Nets Celtics series would be May 1st.
Sunday, right?
Sunday, May 1st. Yep.
That's 2+ weeks to play a 7-game series.
It's got to go to 7. That'd be awesome.
I just hope it goes 6.
Yeah, 6 would be fine as well. Hell, if Brooklyn would have stolen that game. Tatum with the spin move.
Big numbers on Twitch already.
They play tonight or do they play tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I believe.
Wow, 81 already. There you go.
Did you see that thing on the podcast? What's up with that?
Yeah.
Are they all posted?
I mean, I did post them after Thursday's show.
Well, but it says April 6th. That's 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
I mean, unless I read it wrong. I
No,
thought
it said April 6th. So that's
April
why
6th. So where are they?
what day of the week was April 6th?
I don't care.
It was a Wednesday.
Oh, they're all here.
Okay, where are they then? Okay, Max says I show podcasts up to April 14th, which would make sense because the 15th and the 18th were best ofs.
Let me check.
Okay, I can see him here on the Florida Sports Network page. So
Yeah, maybe you're just capping, my man. No, I'm just kidding.
And if I knew what he said, I'd agree or disagree with it.
Yeah, that's cap.
our website's not even working right now.
You don't know what I mean?
As in millerandmoulton.com?
Correct. Let me just hold on.
What? I was just on the website.
Canada, in terms of the officiating, all I know is that, man, are they letting them play? I mean, even Van Gundy said, man, if they're going to allow Boston to do this to Durant, he goes, I like Boston's chances in this series. Good Ovechkin just hanging out. Puck comes loose. Bada bing, bada boom.
By the way, you know Durant's good when 23 is an off night.
That's
I can't even get on our website. Not the back end, Philly, the actual page. You're on the back end.
Coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Good show lined up for you today. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Before then, Tony Fiorentino, longtime Heat broadcaster. He's an assistant coach. Think he's seen every Heat game. Take it easy over there. And Rob Ellis, WIP in Philly, will join us 2 hours from now.
Yeah, baby.
That's his thing. Yeah, baby.
Should we do that throughout the whole show today?
Yeah, baby.
Will that be our theme?
No.
No, baby. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
NBA playoffs last night. Embiid with 31. The 5 Sixers starters outscored the Raptors as a team, 99-97. Sixers got a little more from the bench, 112-97. Philly's up 2-0 in that series, which now will shift north of the border. And one key Sixer won't be able to make the trip because he's not vaccinated. And although they won't have to wear masks on their flight to Toronto.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Even on international flights?
Leaving the U.S., they will not have to wear masks. May have to wear them leaving Toronto.
Okay. Just curious.
Do not have to wear masks, leaving Philadelphia for when they head north of the border. Warriors are also up 2-0 on Denver. Steph, coming off the bench, had 34 in the 126-106 win. A big third quarter, the difference in that one. A terrific game in Dallas. Felt like a must-win for the Mavs. Could they really fall behind 2-0 at home and come back and win? Well, they won't have to realize that. Jalen Brunson with 41 points. The Mavs as a team hit 22 three-pointers. They even the series with Utah 110-104. Celtics Marcus Smart named Defensive Player of the Year. He's the first guard to win Defensive Player of the Year mark in 26 years.
Yeah, Gary Payton, the last one to do so.
The glove in 96, the last one to do so. The Heat's Bam Adebayo finished fourth. He called it insulting. So there. Major League Baseball yesterday, you had 3 games that were postponed because of weather. White Sox, Guardians, Arizona, Washington, Giants, and Mets. Rays on the north side lost to the Cubs 4-2. Cubs off to a 6-4 start. Remember the Rays opened going 3-0 against the Orioles? They've lost 6 of 8 since. They're 5-6 on the young season. It was Patriots Day in Boston. Twins got the better of the Red Sox 8-3. Yelich a grand slam. Brewers 6-1 over the Pirates. Give it up to the Rockies off to a 7-3 start. Started this year
in that
taking
division too.
Yeah. Started the year taking 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, and so far so good. 4-1 over the Phillies, who are 4-7 on the young season. Altuve strains his left hamstring, late in Houston's 8-3 win over the Angels. So that's worth paying attention to. Trout's day-to-day. He got hit on the left hand a couple games ago. It's not broken, but it's sore. He didn't play again last night. Oakland got the better of Baltimore 5-1. Padres 4-1 over the Reds. Mark, not only are the Reds a major league worst 2-9, they have not won since their president and COO, Phil Castellani, said,
"Where are you going to go?"
In fact, Mark, since he uttered those words, they have led for 8 minutes. They scored a run in the top of the first last night. 8 minutes later, Machado hit a 2-run homer.
Where you gonna go?
Well, it's open for bidding, I think. They're 2-9, and things are not looking good. Freddie Freeman homers for the Dodgers, and they just happen to be playing the Braves.
First home run in his first at-bat against the Braves.
That's after a tearful pregame interview in which he talked to the Atlanta, Bally's station, if you will, and the reporter brought up the Dodgers series in Atlanta in June, and Freddie teared up and said he's already looking forward to it, and he misses the Braves fans. So there you have it. Jake Arrieta retired yesterday, 12 years in the majors, threw 2 no-hitters, won a Cy Young, and was the number 2 starter on the 2016 Cubs, who, of course, slayed the Dragon and won the World Series. That's a pretty good little career. Thank you very much. Ronald Acuna is headed to AAA for rehabilitation. He's 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Braves could use him, and so they're thinking week and a half because they want to see him defensively because they really need him to play in the outfield. The Braves outfield defense right now is a mess. They know they can bring him back to DH, but they already got a couple of those. So they really want to see if Acuna can handle playing on a regular basis in the outfield coming back from that torn ACL. Mark, COVID is a reality in Major League Baseball. The A's have 6 on the COVID list. The Red Sox, meanwhile, are headed north of the border to Toronto. They'll do so without catcher Kevin Plawecki, who tested positive, 2 coaches who tested positive, and they've got multiple unvaccinated players who will be unavailable.
Wait a minute. COVID?
Yes.
We're still talking about that?
As a matter of fact, we are. And one of the Red Sox starters, Tanner Houck, who would have pitched, I think, tomorrow, he's unvaccinated. He's not making the trip. NHL, Carolina beat Arizona 5-3. They're back in first in the division. Washington, boy, are the Caps finishing the season strong. So much so they may not be a wild card. They're a point behind the Penguins for third place in the division, and they've got a game in hand. They went to Colorado last night, beat the Avs 3-2 in what was a playoff-like game. Ovechkin was 48th. New Jersey with a big win over Vegas. Big for Vegas. Huge loss. That was their game in hand on the Kings, and they're now 3 points back for third, and the games are dwindling. Dallas, meanwhile, they could have all but wrapped up a playoff spot with a win last night. Instead, Vancouver beat them 6-2. And while the Stars hold the final wild card spot, the Canucks are just 4 points back. Calgary 5-2 over Chicago. Their lead in the division over Edmonton is 9 points. And Seattle, the Kraken, 4-2 over Ottawa. Did you see Beast Mode? As
a piece of the team,
yeah. About $312 and some Skittles, I think. But he's got a piece. He gets to throw fish.
That's perfect.
One other hockey note. Did you hear about the Hobie Baker winner? That's the college hockey's Heisman Trophy. Dryden McKay won it, the goaltender for Minnesota State Mankato. They were the number one team in the country the whole season. They lost in the championship game. So he apparently tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug. He had 1 trillionth of a gram of Osterine. I don't know. They tracked down, it apparently is in an all-natural vitamin D immune booster. And that's how he tested positive. He apparently fought the suspension the whole year. Now that his season is over, he's serving a 6-month suspension. He's undrafted. He's a free agent. He can't play hockey till October 11th. Kind of a crazy story.
That's got minor league written all over it for him.
No doubt.
If he's not signed, he'll be a ECHL type player.
Right, and then maybe work his way up. Who
Maybe.
knows? College basketball news, former LSU forward Alex Fudge transferred to the Gators. He spent his freshman year at LSU averaging 3 points, 3 rebounds a game. He's a 6'8" forward, originally from Jacksonville. Todd Golden doing a good job retaining those who had indicated they were going to transfer from Florida and now beginning to pick up a player or two in the portal. Some NFL news yesterday. In Cleveland, first off, Hugh Jackson's claims about Haslam encouraged him, if not wanted to pay for losses as well. It's being formally investigated.
So both tanking investigations are ongoing.
Correct. That's number one. The good news for the Browns is they spent a whole bunch of money. They've spent over $340 million in guaranteed money this offseason. They haven't even drafted anybody yet. Browns make Denzel Ward the highest paid corner in football. They sign him to a 5-year extension. It kicks in a year. He will make $20.1 million per season. The 0.1 because Jalen Ramsey was making $20 million per season. Ward is 24 years old. Over $71 million of the money is guaranteed. He'll play out the final year of his rookie deal this year, making $13.3 million. And did you hear? The word is Apple TV is getting the NFL Sunday ticket, and they're paying $2.5 billion a year for it.
Crazy.
That's more than CBS and Fox pay to televise the NFL on a yearly basis, and just under what ABC pays.
Now, are they going to have it all themselves, or is this going to be what they talked about before of a split between the DirecTV folks who are still in the game and Apple TV? Because the thought was there was going to be one that was a pure streaming element,
right,
and one that was a replicate of some sort of terrestrial television, albeit satellite.
The reports that are out there is that DirecTV is out, which of course then makes you wonder how long DirecTV will be in business. DirecTV was paying a shade over $1 billion a year. Apple TV reportedly going to pay $2.5 billion. There are some reports saying the deal's done, it's in a drawer, and neither side is announcing it yet for whatever reason.
Well, they better figure it out. I mean, there's a lot of households that are going to have to make changes because, like, for me, you've always asked me, when will you cut the cord? There it is. That's it. That was the last reason to not cut the cord, was the Sunday ticket.
Now it's just reports, but usually the reports are true. Mark, finally, USFL last night. Game was postponed because of inclement weather Sunday night in Birmingham to last night. Tampa Bay Bandits, 17-3 over the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Well, they've always had the Maulers number.
Really?
Yes.
Did not know that. Going back to 84, 85.
Thank you.
So that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I think the Apple TV news is fascinating because they're doing this Friday night baseball and they're getting mixed reviews. Some people like the broadcast, find some of the information that they're giving you fresh, trendy, appealing to a younger audience.
And they're not throwing it in your faces. They're very subtle about it. I like it.
Some people think, though, some of the information is unnecessary. They also, I believe, I think the very first broadcast, I think it crashed.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
Yep.
Which, needless to say, that's a problem. Can't be having that.
Right.
This is not the FloridaSportsNetwork.com here.
Right. It's one thing if you're crashing for a baseball game on Friday night. Try working the Sunday ticket.
Right.
There's just a few more people that are going to be interested Sunday at 1 than Friday at 7:30, if you know what I mean.
So I've heard. I understand the Yankees are big and all.
Right.
But they're not Sunday at 1.
No, they are not.
Yeah. Red zone crashing would be like DEFCON 4, Code Red.
Sure.
End of the world.
And I will say, and we've said this to Seth, and I have a feeling this is going to be our entire conversation with Seth on Wednesday, is I am somebody who I pay for cable, in part because I need the high-speed internet and also our home security is tied to it, so I did a bundle thing. I would have no problem cutting the cable part out of the bundle, but I'm an idiot. I need to know, okay, so what am I going to get, and then what do I have to buy?
Well, first things first, they're not going to let you just take the TV out. You know, they've got you kind of over the barrel there. Now, I happen to just have a plain old internet account from them. Puts me in a better spot, but I pay a lot for that internet, for that business internet account. It's not cheap because at one point we were running the whole show off of it.
I'm going to need some direction. Paint by numbers, Mark. You know that's what I need. Miller and Moulton.
Happy trees, David. Just happy trees.
Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, the Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free
14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So now do you think we finally get the DirecTV Dish Network merger?
We got to, right? What else do they have?
Hey, man, I don't know.
I've never liked the platform anyhow. I mean, like literally, we went from cable to that, and my daughter's like, when we getting the old cable back?
What are you saying, Mark? The cable to what?
Oh, I don't like DirecTV.
I don't like DirecTV either.
As an interface to use. I don't like anything about it.
No, not that great. Also, I don't know if they're still about this, but sticking a satellite on the side of your house, it's ridiculous. In Florida during the summertime, have fun. Rainstorm coming. Oh, no TV.
Oh, trust me, I know. It's why I've got
Bullshit.
two one of those HD antennas, just the regular, like they're horrible, but I mean I've hooked them back to my television so if I can watch during football so I can put the network on.
Yeah.
Because on Saturday and Sunday you're gonna lose football.
But you're saying you still have DirecTV?
I have DirecTV. I got it because of Sunday Ticket.
Right. And we just mentioned that the NFL is moving on from DirecTV?
Yes.
So Sunday Ticket will no longer be
Apple TV.
Wow.
What were you doing that last segment?
I just wanted to make sure. Look, I've come to realize that if I don't, I should fully understand what's going on before I speak.
That's really good.
Wow.
Been a good 4 days for you, Felipe.
There you go. Maybe I don't know. Lent. I don't know.
I got thrown to the backup church on Sunday.
What?
The wife's now a Eucharistic minister, so she was doing Easter, but they had enough, so they threw her to the overflow church, which was great because we had done 10 minutes before the other one. I got to get out.
Well,
KW, then
you're the
lucky.
only one, man.
Then you don't live here because I get them all the time. Now you can go to standard def. That's the one thing that you can go to standard def and you don't lose TV, Felipe. You used to lose it. No. Trust me, cable's better, but you don't get the Sunday Ticket on cable.
And by the way, KW, I don't know where you're from. You're probably from the West Coast, but on the East Coast of Florida, it is way worse.
You get it here all the time.
Well, yeah, but
the time.
It rains way harder in the East Coast. Like
you get rain more parts of the year. Like you get
here?
on the East Coast, you get winter rains that you don't get here.
Yes, and they're brutal for an hour.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, I had them when I was over there last week, and I was stunned. You typically don't get, we get afternoon rains in the summer, in the rainy season. You get them more. You get the February, March, April rains, which is weird.
No, your typical Florida afternoons, 2 p.m., where you look one way and it's beautiful blue sky, and then you look to the left and then it's just black, gray depths of hell. Dark pit of despair.
There you go.
Yep.
Channeling your inner Madison Keys.
Love Madison Keys. All right, we're going back now, right?
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. We are back after a little 4-day break. We took a little 4-day weekend, little Good Friday, Easter Monday action. We don't take many days off. I think our next scheduled one's Memorial Day, and not sure we'll take one off in between Memorial Day and July 4th either. So we are ready for the grind. And the draft a week from Thursday night, we'll have an all-night, basically, Twitch broadcast, the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Follow us, subscribe to us. You'll be glad you did. It's commercial-free a week from Thursday night if you subscribe, right?
Well, but I have the ability on Twitch to play an ad.
Really?
Now, I don't know if those who subscribe miss that ad, but I can assure you at some point during the 4.5 hours that we do a show,
right,
I'm going to run an ad.
Is it for John Subs there?
It's for whatever they put on.
Gotcha.
It's their ads.
Okay. All right. But not this Thursday, but a week from is the first round of the NFL draft. And, we drink a little and we have a little fun, but trust me, we've got our homework ready. We've got sheets and sheets of paper, and we have 8 teams with multiple first-round draft picks. This figures to be a blast of activity. One of those teams is the Philadelphia Eagles. Rob Ellis will join us in a little more than an hour from Philadelphia to talk about what it is he thinks the Eagles are going to do, and also talk about the Sixers being too spit up on the Raptors. Pat Kirwan 1 hour from now. Tony Fiorentino of Heat fame in a little more than 30 minutes.
So we have 8 with multiple picks. Is it 8 that don't have a first-round pick?
Correct.
Okay. Of the 8 that don't have a first-round pick, how many will make a first-round selection?
Ooh.
You see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah.
Who's trading back into the first round to get a pick?
I like it. I like that. I'll have to think about it. Because first I have to go. See, I know the 8 teams that have the multiple first-round picks. I've got that seared in my head. So which team will trade back into the first round? I will say, do you know who is normally aggressive? And I don't believe they have a first-round pick. The Colts.
The Colts do not have a first-round pick.
Are normally aggressive.
The Bears do not have a first-round pick.
Yeah, new GM, I don't think he will waste future picks to trade back into the first round. Plus, they got their quarterback. So I don't believe so. I think, by the way, it'll be late first round where 1 or 2 teams trade back in to grab a quarterback. That's where I think it happens.
Miami doesn't have a first-round pick.
Right. I don't think they'll be one of the teams.
Vegas doesn't have a first-round pick.
Don't think they'll be one of the teams.
Denver doesn't have a first-round pick.
They got their quarterback.
San Francisco doesn't have a first-round pick.
Well, they traded the King's ransom to get their quarterback. In fact, right now they have one too many. So, although who knows, maybe Jimmy G gets them into the late first round for a key player of need. Who knows?
I don't think it will be as many as whatever number we put on it, unless you're going to go really low on an over-under.
I would go 1.5 by the way of the 8. Over-under, trade back into the first round. I'd go 1.5. Yep. I know what I'm doing there.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Because at 2.5, I'm for sure under.
Right.
It's a good number.
But that's also part of the intrigue. And remember, you've got Green Bay, I think 22 and 28. And then you've got the Chiefs with the back-to-back first rounders at what, like 29 and 30?
Correct.
And so you figure they're prime candidates to use one and trade one away.
And even Detroit with 32 and 34, they could move up and get something. If all of a sudden Willis falls and they want Willis, do they go up to 19 and trade with New Orleans ahead of Pittsburgh to get him with those 2 picks and something else?
Yeah, it would be interesting. Does 32? How high does 32 and 34 together get you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you're Green Bay at 22, would you trade away 22 to get 32 and 34?
I would, for the record. I don't know what the value is there, the chart.
Don't know what the chart says either, but just something to consider. That's why can't wait for the draft. A chance, by the way, for the first time in the history of the draft, which goes back to 1936. First time, strong possibility, nobody who touches the football taken in the top 10 picks of the draft. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Maybe, like people now are shying away from Carolina at 6 taking a quarterback. That if anything, Carolina may trade out because they don't have a second and a third round pick and they need picks, etc. But will a receiver, they think the best chance is a wide receiver going between 8, 9, and 10. But they think there's a really strong chance that we have a top 10 of no skill players.
The last mock that I looked at, and I probably like you, David, I'm looking at several a week. But the last one, I was sitting there yesterday looking through some stuff on The Athletic, and the first receiver taken, and that was the first guy who touches the ball, was by Washington
at 11.
At 11.
There you go. There you go. Now, the Jets are at 4 and 10, and the Jets have needs. So, and one of them is at receiver. So, do they at 10 take a receiver? I mean, Seattle at 9, unlikely to take a receiver. Atlanta at 8, need a receiver.
Needs a receiver, but unlikely to probably take one because they need so much.
Exactly. And do you go defensive lineman here? They don't have a pass rush. Do you go offensive tackle here if one falls?
Particularly when you're at 43, if you're at Atlanta, you're going to get a good receiver at 43.
Yes.
I mean, that's the fact of the matter, is that there's receivers through the second round, which is part of the reason there's no great receiver in a lot of people's eyes, that there's not much difference between receiver 1 and receiver, 4 or 5.
And if this were to come to pass, think about what a bonanza this is for the quote-unquote good teams. I mean, if all the skill players are falling to the meat of the first round, to the good teams, think about that. Now, we've seen, like Jefferson was taken in the low 20s. I mean, it's not that we haven't had impact skill players taken mid to late first round here recently. But like Jamar Chase, you had to, 5, 6?
Right.
I mean, that's where Chase went. Normally, that's where you think to get an impact wide receiver. Like Jefferson was 3rd or 4th wide receiver taken in that draft class? Well, you could sit once in New Orleans, 16 and 19, Philly, 15 and 18. I mean,
well, and that's the other side of this because of the style of players we're talking about. If you're New Orleans, if you're Philadelphia, why are you trading out of these spots for one player when you could be getting really good value in the middle of this draft? I think your number at 1.5 is right on, because there are not a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that people think highly of. There are not a lot of wide receivers that people think are game-changing wide receivers. Certainly one of them is going to be.
There are a couple of wide receivers who, if healthy, I think would have been the top 2 receivers taken in this draft, London of USC and Williams from Alabama. But will they be the top 2 receivers taken because they are coming back from major injuries? London worked out last week. You looked faster than him on tape from that workout. That was not good tape to have produced there if I was Drake London. Jamison Williams, I think, will be an absolute stud on Sundays. May not play for the first half of his rookie year. If you're a good team, like the thought is, if by chance, and I don't think he will, but if by chance he falls to the Packers at 22, well, I'd be all over Jamison Williams. So what if I get him back in November? Hell, I'm trying to win in January here. Aaron and the boys can take care of the first 8 to 10 weeks of the year.
Right.
If I can add Jamison Williams right before Thanksgiving,
I
are
don't
you
think
serious?
He's there at 22, but he could be.
But so there are going to be impact wide receivers that are going to fall to the good teams. And one would think, by the way, one of them will be Baltimore, who has been searching for wide receivers now for years. One would think, as if Ozzie Newsome is still running the franchise, even though he's not, they'll just sit tight where they are, and a really good player will be right there for them.
Like it usually is.
Right.
In Baltimore, picking at 14. Houston right before them, and anybody can screw up a draft. It's the Houston Texans.
Well, and they've got 2 first-rounders, so are they a prime candidate to trade out? They need many players. They stand pat at 3, but they trade out at 13 if somebody's coming up for whomever, a receiver, the safety from Notre Dame, you name it. I think it'll be and that's why, to me, especially since, if the first 8, 9, 10 guys are all mouth breathers, if you will, if they're big uglies, as Keith Jackson famously said.
I like that better than mouth breathers.
Yeah.
That's a little demeaning.
Okay. I didn't mean it that way.
I know you didn't. Big uglies is better.
Okay. If they're big uglies, then the sexy part of the draft is in the middle, and you're going to have 2, 3, 4 teams who have multiple first-round picks, and then all of a sudden, guys are going to fall. It's going to be like, oh, my goodness, I can trade back into the first round, and I can get this receiver who will start for me right away. Fascinated by this year's draft because of no skill players in all likelihood for the first hour and a half.
And I think I would still bet under on the 1.5. Because I don't think the players that are there are the type of guys people are going to go up and be enamored with to go grab.
I'll go over. First off, I'm willing to bet my job that somebody's going to trade back in and take a quarterback. So now I only need somebody, and it could be somebody with a high second-round pick that just wants to move up from 35 to 31 even. They don't want to move far, but they just want to guarantee they get so-and-so.
Well, and remember, our bet is teams without a first-round pick trading back in to get one. It's not just first-round trades, David.
That's true. I'm still going to go over.
Well, of course you are.
Yeah.
It'd be a slap in the face to everybody who's listening to the show if you're going under on a trade bet.
Hey, this league's coming around to my way of thinking. I'm not a trendsetter about much, Mark. This just in.
Nope, but you were 5 to 8 years in front of the National Football League of where it was going, where it wanted to be.
Easily. Miller and Moulton. Tony Fiorentino coming up in a little more than 20 minutes' time. Pat Kirwan, top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, where else but the Florida Sports Network?
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf. where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
DC, I'll get back on that. Did you see that? The USFL player that got cut for eating pizza and not chicken salad?
What?
There was a USFL player. I don't know. I forgot. Pittsburgh Maulers. I guess there was like a team meal or something like that.
Oh, you got cut because you didn't want chicken salad?
Yes, he's like, I don't eat chicken salad, so
And they cut him.
I ordered a pizza, and they freaking cut him. He was like, "What?"
Yeah, they cut him.
He was like, "I didn't say
Somebody
anything."
Somebody else
offensive."
brought up pizza. Somebody else brought a pizza into the room, and he asked if he could have a slice, and they cut him.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I didn't say anything offensive or doing it. I just got a slice of pizza.
He's not wrong.
I don't eat chicken salad. I just eat pizza. Yeah, sorry, but this is happening. So it's done already. It's done. You're cut. You're done.
And the team was really proud of cutting him too.
Yeah.
What team was this?
The Pittsburgh Maulers.
Oh, thank goodness they lost. They got. We got to talk about this.
No, this is
Let me see if I can get the story.
We need the full context here.
Cut over.
Wait.
I put cut over, and cut over pizza is the first thing that comes up.
A slice of pizza.
Pittsburgh Maulers start Sunday. It was in the documentary. Like, as they're doing
Drive to Survive, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you put my computer on?
Yeah.
Well, he crossed the line. So we had to deal with it.
This is very difficult for me as a head coach, my first time. But we have a business. Okay, this is business, and you're a businessman. We all are, because that's the nature of the beast right now. But when I first talked to you guys on March 22nd, I had a handbook. I covered some items that were very important to me.
Line 46 addresses that. Any disrespect of football or members, staff, USFL, hotel, etc., would not be tolerated.
And it's been brought to my attention that has occurred with you. So unfortunately, hear me out, unfortunately, cost of doing business, I'm going to have to let you go. Okay?
I didn't think I did anything or said anything disrespectful. I can tell you what happened exactly.
It's not important.
Right.
It's not important.
I don't know.
It's already happened.
Right.
It's already happened.
I didn't say anything disrespectful. He said, is that going to be a problem? I said, yes. That's it. And I walked away. I mean, I didn't think that was disrespectful. Me saying, yes, I don't eat chicken salad. And I was like, is there another option? Walked in with pizza. And I was like, can I get a slice of pizza? He said, no. I was like, he said, is that going to be a problem? I said, yes. That's all I said. I didn't say no cuss word, nothing. That's all I said. I promise you. No disrespectful on my dad's life. I promise you I didn't say nothing disrespectful besides yes.
And I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, we have to root for this team to lose every game now. Come on now.
I want that guy to make the NFL now.
Do we know who the guy is?
It is Devon Smith.
Devon Smith. Where did Devon Smith?
Hang on.
Yeah.
He played for Michigan.
Oh, there you go.
Kirby Wilson
Yes.
is the head coach.
He cut him.
Oh,
Paul.
Come on. We gotta
Paul.
we gotta root for the Maulers to go 0-10 here. Come on now.
Paul in the Twitch chat goes, where are you going to go? Too soon?
Love it, Paul. Love it.
Good one. Good one. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, really. Totally mellow.
Domino's,
Debbie,
yeah.
absolutely. If I'm a pizza place, I'm signing them up.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Tony Fiorentino, longtime Heat broadcaster, assistant coach. He will join us in a little more than 15 minutes. Heat up 1-0. Looking to go up 2-0 tonight at home against Atlanta. Pat Kirwan, top of the hour. Rob Ellis, live from Philly 1 hour from now. Talk a little Eagles and maybe even a splash of Sixers. I mean, they are up 2-0. They're impressive. They're worth a splash.
Well, I know you watched a lot of USFL football over the weekend.
I did. I did not watch any of last night's Tampa Bay Bandits game. How are you? Apparently, they looked really good early, put 17 on the board in the first half, and coasted to a 17-3 win over the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Well, David, I'm going to share a story with you that will make the Pittsburgh Maulers your least favorite team in all of sports.
Wow, that's saying something.
You're going to hate them more than the Islanders when I'm done.
It's not possible. And I will say, very sad about the passing of Mike Bossy.
Yeah, absolutely. Great player.
Amazing goal scorer.
His career cut too short because of a bad back.
And his life cut too short because of cancer.
Yeah. Terrible, terrible news about the Hall of Famer Mike Bossy passing over the weekend. But this is about the Pittsburgh Maulers. I caught this over the weekend, and I really appreciate Felipe bringing it back up. They're doing a documentary, United by Football, and a lot of training camps and things of that nature.
All right.
But a clip from that went viral because Devon Smith, former Michigan running back, played with the Dolphins on a practice squad.
Okay.
Kind of kicked it around, played with Orlando in your league there.
The AAF. They owe me money.
They might owe Devon money too. But the Maulers apparently don't because he was cut.
Okay.
And cut for what I find to be the most unusual reason that I've ever seen an athlete cut for. In fact, David, I think it's even far more. My best firing that I recall have happened to me when I worked at a restaurant called Levi's in Saginaw, Michigan. And this is early satellite days, the big dish, the big bird, getting games on.
Right.
The owner had a hell of a time with the bird.
Okay.
And young Mark Miller went, let me see that. Probably grabbed the remote right out of his hand.
Okay.
Looking back on it, hit about 3 buttons. TV was on.
All right. Well, at least you got it straightened out.
I was fired 30 minutes later.
Whoa. Why?
Owner didn't like me taking the remote control and apparently showing him up because I knew how to work the remote control and he didn't. And I'm not joking. I was fired mid-shift of a bartending shift, my first shift bartending.
Did he fire you or did he have someone else do it?
He chicken blanked it and had someone else do it.
No, well, the blankety blank.
But Kirby Wilson, who is the head coach of the Maulers, did not use an intermediary to fire his player. What happened was apparently Devon Smith was getting some food in the commissary.
All right.
They had chicken salad. He doesn't like chicken salad.
Okay.
Saw someone come in with a pizza.
Well, who doesn't like pizza?
Asked if he could get a slice. Apparently, not only could he not get a slice, but he was being disrespectful to the commissary staff, and he was cut for asking for pizza.
Oh, come on. Come on.
He was cut for ordering pizza instead of chicken salad.
Well, with all due respect to chicken salad, most every human being wants pizza over chicken salad, and I like me some chicken salad. At times, I even love me some chicken salad. But come on now.
The big problem is that he asked for pizza instead of chicken salad. When he was asked if it was a problem, if that wasn't possible, he said, yeah. He doesn't like chicken salad.
Okay.
According to the coach, any disrespect of football or members of the staff will not be tolerated. He crossed the line.
He crossed the line by wanting a slice of pizza, by saying he didn't like chicken salad.
Someone's hurt feelings are a distant second to the greater good of the team, and we've moved on and turned that page, and I'm happy we did it.
Who's saying this?
The head coach of the Maulers.
Well, they played 10 games in the regular season of the USFL, and thankfully they're 0-1, and now we can only hope they go 0-10. Seriously? Kirby Wilson, the head coach?
Yes.
Of the Maulers? Hope this is the end of his career, cutting a guy over wanting a slice of pizza. I can't believe this is true. You sure this isn't like on The Onion, Fark, something like that?
No, it's true. This happened.
Well, you know what needs to happen now. We need to call up Domino's, Papa John's. We need a deal.
There's no doubt a pizza joint needs to come to this guy's rescue.
Little Caesars?
Absolutely.
Come on.
In fact, you work it into the ad. You put a chicken salad sandwich in front of him, and he goes, I want pizza. And then whatever pizza company it is, guy or gal comes running in full uniform. Here you go, sir. Coming right up, hot and fresh.
Maybe he tackles the pizza delivery driver and starts eating it right there.
Who's the official pizza company of the USFL? Do they have one? They got to work this guy in to a spot. And that's how you work it. Here it is.
He's done. He's done with the league.
So what? He could make more money with the ad. They make $4,500 a week, by the way. Make $45,000. That's what they make for. And
all right, I like their. Not being a smart aleck. I like their pay scale.
It's about a 3-week training camp, and then the season's 10 weeks. And so I think they got $10,000 for training camp because they made that known in the broadcast pregame. They wanted the world to know, the football world, that, hey, everybody you see on the field, they already have $10,000 in their bank account.
Well, the AAF did
Bingo.
not. I mean, left it, the people who watch know that everybody
Bingo.
got screwed.
And a year from now, the USFL is competing for players against the XFL, and they want the agents and the players to know, hey, we pay cash, we pay it up front. We're not taking advantage of you. 45, and there's an $800 or $850 winning incentive. So if you win, everybody on the team gets an extra $850.
I'm fine with that. Now, I'm sure the coaches are overpaid, but I'm fine with trying to have a pay scale for the players that makes this league viable.
And then if you win the championship, it's an extra $10,000. So in theory, let's just say you go 6-4. You make your 45,000 or thereabouts for the season. You win 6 games. That's like $5,200. So now you're a little over $50,000. If by chance you win the championship, you've devoted 4 months of your life to playing in the USFL. You made $60,000.
Not bad.
Now, obviously, you got to put your life on hold, whatever it is you were doing. But yeah, I think we'd all do it in our young to mid 20s, and some even old, late 20s.
Yeah, like this guy was 27, I believe, that got cut here. Ordering a pizza. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Got to be an official pizza of the USFL.
I don't think there's an official anything of the USFL.
Come on. There were advertisements and everything.
Did any one of, you watched.
I
you
did.
Said you watched pretty intently.
I did.
You're better in tune with this than I am.
I will say some of the companies that advertised, they were big companies too. I was surprised. It did 3 million viewers. Oh, by the way, it did 3 million. They were happy.
Oh, they should be.
I will say this, what are they? The Michigan Panthers?
Yes.
And they played Easter Sunday. I think they played the early game on Easter Sunday.
And that was on NBC.
Correct. There were 4 times as many people in the Detroit and all of Michigan, 4 times as many people watching the Michigan Panthers play than watched the average Detroit Pistons game this year. Over 4 times as many people
what a
watching.
Great job by the league. A team named Michigan that will never even see the Mitten State.
Not for 3 years,
Won't
apparently.
come near it.
Not till
And
2024.
con these people in because it's the only football team, professional football team, that's ever had any winning history in that state. They ran back to the Panthers. David, I graduated from Nouvelle Catholic Central, the Panthers. Do you know why? Because of the Michigan damn Panthers. That's what they named the school after. That's how bad it is.
So over 4 times as many people in the state watching the Michigan Panthers game on Easter Sunday than watched Pistons basketball this year. Tony Fiorentino, speaking of Heat basketball, he's next.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think the Heat have the best home court in the NBA this year, and I want to see what Tony thinks about that.
Are you
Especially on
talking about the
playoffs.
look of the court
No, I'm just saying
or the biggest home court advantage?
the best home court advantage.
Okay, sorry. With a 21-year-old, I don't know if you're talking about this. What's on the court? Well, come on.
No.
The way you said that,
No.
you didn't.
Home
I got you.
Home court in Miami is big. Have it throughout the eastern side of the playoffs could be beneficial down the stretch, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
There we go.
Here we go. Calls them 2 minutes early.
Yep.
Just a big fan. Miami. I'm going to mail stuff to your house. Would you mind signing it and sending it back?
Is this your home number? Do you mind if I text during games? Ross didn't have a very good weekend. Get knocked out early?
Dirt in the engine was moving. He started 33rd. He's moving his way up, probably past 10, 12 cars. And then
Dirt in the engine?
Dirt. Well, they
Yeah.
put all that dirt on the Bristol track. No one there. Easter. They're racing on Easter. First time in 33 years they raced on Easter. What are they doing? Okay. Got to race on Saturday night. And I think they didn't because the USFL and NBC and Fox, I would have raced on FS1 on a Saturday night. You can't race Easter Sunday. He's got no future in the NFL with that stunt, the pizza stunt. Give me a break.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Rob Ellis, 1 hour from now. Eagles, one of 8 teams with multiple first-round picks. The draft is a week from Thursday night. We'll talk to Rob about what the Eagles are going to do and may mix in a little Sixers talk, up 2-0 on the Raptors. Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour. It's a pleasure to welcome back Tony Fiorentino, longtime Heat broadcaster, assistant coach. You can follow Tony on Twitter, Tony Heat WC 3X. See what he's doing there? 3-time world champion. Tony Heat WC 3X. Tony, it's David and Mark. A belated happy Easter to you and your family. How are you?
Same to you guys. How are you guys doing?
Well, we are doing well. We're as fired up for the first round of the playoffs since they've gone to the best of 7 format, Tony, as we've ever been. But let's talk Heat. The number 1 seed, big win in game 1. If we can go back, or at least I want to go back to start. When you looked at the Heat coming off the sweep at the end of last year and the changes that they made, what were your thoughts about this team early in the season and then as it went on?
Well, it was interesting because a lot of my friends were telling me, we've got to go big. We got to get another big player. And I said, well, that's easy to say, but you're not just going to get any big. The Heat does not function that way. So what Pat Riley did was he went out and got championship pedigree type players, you know, in Lowry and PJ Tucker, and added them to the mix, and had a lot of confidence in the Heat development program with developing the young guys. And I know people are surprised to some degree with how well, like, for example, a guy like Max Strus is playing. But I got a feeling that the Heat, because, you know, they see him every day in practice. Pat Riley's at every practice at home when the Heat are home. And that's when a lot of evaluation goes on. And you see guys like him and Gabe Vincent and, you know, Max and Gabe. And they see the development of these guys and Khalid Martin. And so I think they had, you know, they also brought him aboard. They have a lot of confidence in developing the players, and they see them every day. And I think they really like the mix that they have. I thought when Lowry and Tucker came to the Heat, I thought we had, along with Butler and Bam, that we had the four core players, one of the best four starting that defensively can shut you down at the end of games when you needed to get stops. And we pretty much saw that throughout the season. You know, and we know in the playoffs, teams can't ramp up their defense and rebounding. You know, you are who you are when you get into the playoffs. You can't expect them to get better at something. You are who you are defensively. So the Heat have been doing this all year defensively. And so it fits right into the defensive scheme, playoff scheme of winning games.
Well, Tony, I'm almost afraid to ask this after the answer you gave, but at the same time, Bam Adebayo gets fourth in the Defensive Player of the Year, and he said it's insulting. I know you can't change who you are, but you can upset the apple cart a little bit. And I don't know if there's any need to get more amped defensively for the playoffs, but when you tell a Bam Adebayo that he's not one of the top two or one of the top three defenders, is that an extra edge for the postseason?
I would think so. You know, he's playing with a chip on his shoulders. I know that Alonzo Mourning was drafted in 92. Okay, second pick behind Shaq. He didn't get Defensive Player of the Year award until 99, I believe, and then he won it back-to-back. And so I think the lack of national games that the Heat didn't play this year, the Heat are not the networks feel the Heat aren't that attractive nationally. So, you know, they'd rather put a Laker team on that didn't make the playoffs every night than put the Heat on who are exciting to watch. And so Bam did not get the exposure that some of the other guys got playing on national TV. So I think that goes into the mix. But you can turn that into a positive, and I'm sure that he will do that because he is a great defensive player. One of the reasons why I can make the statement I did about the four defensive guys is he can switch on anybody, and he's got these. You always read these percentages where when he guards guys, their shooting percentage goes down from point guards to centers, and so it doesn't make much sense that he's not in the top three defensively, let alone Defensive Player of the Year. So you can use that going into the playoffs and play with a chip on your shoulder and just shut people down and show everybody they made a mistake.
Yeah, the two teams who played in the witness protection program most of the year were Miami and Memphis. All right, and they only finished as the 1 and the 2 seeds in their respective conferences. Tony Fiorentino, longtime Heat broadcaster, former assistant coach. You can follow him on Twitter, Tony Heat WC3X, Tony Heat WC3X. You know, they had a little bobble late in the regular season. They had a comfortable lead for the 1 seed, 3-4 games. They owned a lot of the tiebreakers. And then all of a sudden, with about 2 weeks left in the year, they had must-win games. Tony, not knowing what the future is going to hold, I actually feel that worked in their favor, that instead of not playing a quote-unquote meaningful game for a while, I thought that they kind of had to ramp it up just a little before the playoffs. I kind of thought that was a good thing. How did you view the last 2-3 weeks of the regular season?
Well, the little thing that happened in the game with people arguing in public, that stuff happens all the time behind closed doors. So it wasn't unusual. The only unusual thing was it was done right there in front of cameras. And I think they are a closely knit team. It's just like in a family when you have a squabble and you got things that are right below the surface and it comes out. It can be a positive thing. So the Heat used it in a positive way. And you bring up a good point. We lost 4 in a row, and every team in the NBA goes through almost everything. They all go through the same thing. He just happened to have that little lull with about 2 weeks left, as you said. But then right after that 4-game losing streak, they won a game at home against Sacramento, and then they went on the road and had to play 3 games in 4 nights, I believe it was, where they played at Chicago, at Boston, at Toronto in a back-to-back. And they won all 3 games. And that turned everything around, as far as being on a snide and having momentum. They won 6 in a row, I believe, before the last game really didn't matter. In Orlando, they didn't play anybody. And so I think they did use the little thing that happened, the negative thing that happened nationally. Everybody's getting on their case. They turned that into a positive, which is what this team does. They're very mentally tough, just like their president, Riley, and just like their coach in Spoelstra. And then they had good momentum going into the playoffs. And guys, one of the unusual stats that I saw the other night in Game 1. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, because I never really looked for it. Miami Heat had 35 assists in Game 1. They had more assists than Atlanta had field goals. Atlanta had 29 field goals. You rarely see a team have more assists than the other team scores baskets. And I think that says a lot about the Heat and their defense.
Talk to me about tonight, Tony. The Hawks are going to come with everything they have. You obviously want to get a split when you're the road team and just try to get this back home at 1-1. So just talk to me. Obviously the Heat, a great defensive team. They're a great home court team. But just talk to me about the mentality you have to have tonight, because you're going to get the Hawks' best effort.
Yeah, I'm sure that the first thing Coach Spoelstra told them after the game the other night, or maybe yesterday in practice, is, okay, we won the game. We played well. He points out all the good things. Then he's going to talk about, hey, their goal coming to Miami was to win one of the 2 games. And so that's still in play. And it's only one win, and whether you win by 1 like Boston did at the buzzer, or you win by, 24 like the Heat did. And so tonight you got to come out with the same intensity. You expect Atlanta to make a few adjustments. You don't expect Trae Young and Bogdanovich to go 1 for 20 from the floor. I mean, that's what they were the other night. Okay, they're the 2 leading scorers. And so they're going to come out playing a little tougher tonight, and they're going to try to adjust and see if they can get Trae Young off the snide, how to play against pick and rolls, because they trap Trae every time he comes off that pick and roll. And so it'll be interesting to see how Atlanta, what adjustments they make. And what's interesting about it, too, is when you look at it from all aspects of it, you don't expect Bam and Hero to have a bad game. They were 4 for 16 from the floor. They averaged, I just looked it up before you called, they averaged 43 points a game against Atlanta in the regular season between them. Hero played 3 of the 4 games. Bam played 2 of the 4. And so, that Trae and Bogdanovich are not going to go 1 for 20, but you also know that Hero and Bam are going to have a better game. You don't expect Duncan to make 8 threes. So it's intriguing when you look behind the numbers and you try to figure out on both sides what adjustments will be made. I thought one of the things that while I was watching the game, Coach Spoelstra did was, in the first half, he made sure a point guard initially was guarding Trae Young. Started with Lowry, then it was Gabe Vincent when he came off the bench. He even played Gabe and Lowry together in the second quarter, which he doesn't do very often. And then in the third quarter, when Hero came in the game, he guarded Trae Young, a bigger, taller guard. That's all, I think, part of the scheme of just changing things up against Young and keeping him a little off balance, where you can't just throw one thing at him defensively every night throughout the whole game. You've got to mix it up so you keep him guessing a little bit. Because not only did he not shoot the ball well, 1 for 12, obviously, but he passes that he usually makes that are on the money, they were off because he was getting so much pressure. And so this is the game within a game. Now every game's different. Let's see what Atlanta does differently when they come out tonight and if the Heat change their game plan a little bit.
Tony, final question. I'm intrigued by Tyler Hero just in terms of how much better can he get? Because there are times in which I look at him and I go, man, this guy could be just a star. I mean, am I off base? Is he a star in the making, or is he just a very good player?
Well, it's a good point. Time will tell. I'm more with you about him being a star in the making. You know, he had a great bubble 2 years ago as a rookie. You know, when you're comparing what he did in the bubble as a rookie in the playoffs, and you're comparing him to guys like Magic and Oscar Robertson. I mean, come on, the numbers anyway. You know, then you know you got something going. And you see what he did in the off season, where he put on some strength and weight. And really, one of the things that he maybe doesn't get enough credit for. Everyone knows he can score. He's got to improve. He gets turnovers sometimes at crucial points in the game. He's got to improve that. But he's only 22 years old, third year in the league. But one of the things that he's really improved on is seeing where he can pass the ball and delivering the pass. He's really making, when he puts the ball on the floor, he's making great decisions on seeing open teammates and delivering the ball. You know, he is 6'5", and he can see over people, and he can get the ball to people. And to me, that's the most improvement that he made over last year. And he's gotten a little more consistent with his shot making. And so when you look at it after this year, wherever he wind up, after 3 years in the NBA, you got to think this is a guy that it's a star on the horizon, and you know, you just have to wait and see. I took that from time to time, and it seems like when he had a daughter, you know, he has a daughter now. It kind of settled him a little bit. He's more mature now than he was 2 years ago. You know, and it's funny to say that about a 22-year-old, but that's where he's at. And so you really root for a guy like that because he works his butt off. And he'll be the sixth man of the year in the NBA, which is a great honor.
Tony, thanks so much for your time and your insight. We wish you and your family all the best. Thanks for doing this. Hopefully we can catch up down the road as well.
Anytime, David and Mark. Take care of yourself, guys. And let's go Heat, baby.
Tony Fiorentino, former Heat broadcaster, assistant coach. He's got 3 rings as part of the organization, hence the Twitter handle, Tony Heat, WC3X.
His interview day just getting started now that Felipe has him on the phone. He should have him through till about 8:30.
Right. We were worried that Felipe wasn't going to allow him to come on the show. Did you change phone numbers? Did you say, hey, is it okay if I text you during the games?
I mean, we had like a 2-minute conversation about the Heat. I mean,
I
how happy are you right now?
I'm so happy. This is probably the highlight of my Miller and Moulton career.
Yeah? More so than David Sampson.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know.
No. That's, you know what? Keep letting us know, because I'm not being a smart aleck at all. This actually fires me up. We've done this a long time. We've interviewed thousands of people. So seeing you get fired up over an interview actually makes the both of us a little more fired up than we are.
If someone walked up to me and said, hey, what's your dream job? It'd probably be his. Dude had the best job in the world. Sitting courtside talking about live Heat basketball. Nothing better.
Have to admit, when you frame it that way, sounds like a great gig. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan, all things NFL, next on the Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals. The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Doing this College Game Day Fox thing, figuring out what everybody was doing wrong. Like, he spent a lot of time digging into he interviewed every coach about NIL. Like, that was the thing. Like, he interviewed every coach about NIL. Not all of them made the air, but he wasn't just doing it, Right. And so they started the fund something, Notre Dame is on there. That's the fund account is what it is.
Okay.
But they've got theirs tied in. It's very Notre Dame, tied into some charities, and it's
okay.
But just so they can compete. Now, they did talk about the one quarterback that's apparently going to make, can make up to $8 million in the SEC. By the way, Arch has got it down to 3 apparently. Georgia, Alabama,
Texas, I would
Texas.
Guess. He visited Virginia.
Yeah, I know. But he said his top 3.
Oh, he did.
He said his top 3 were those 3.
He did. Okay.
He didn't see. He said he doesn't have, but these 3 keep coming.
Apparently, I read a big article about how he's handling it, in which the family decided to do it old school, where everything goes through the high school football coach.
All right, that was pretty good. You got to show with the pass, though. I mean, it made it look a lot better with the pass.
Right.
That's the other thing I wish, I see all this. Marty's got I don't know if Marty has like these crypto. Why are we not having some crypto sponsor? Even if we were getting paid.
Yeah, I guess. I wouldn't be crazy about that, but
But
that's just
I'm just talking for the endorsement.
Right.
If that's all.
Yeah. Now there you talk. What the hell? Little side money deal.
That's what I'm
this
saying.
Could turn out to be $3. It
could turn out to be a bunch.
3,000.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'd take a flyer on that.
That's tech time to another level.
Look at Marshawn.
Oh, that was Marshawn.
Yeah, that was Marshawn.
Ah. This is
That's so true. He just nearly hurt people, though.
nah. He knew what he was doing.
I love him.
I do too. Look at him.
Trying to restore my community.
I'll tell you what. You want to know people freaking out right there in that building watching a
Yes,
watching a
thinking, man,
$250,000
we got a
machine.
game. We got a game in a few hours. He could take out the whole boards here.
And they look closely like, oh, it's Marshawn. He can do whatever he wants. You have to think he has like a massive cult following in Seattle.
Oh.
By the way, before I call Pat, Jay Crowder in game 1, 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 block. The game 1-1. The game 1-1-1-1-1-1. I almost have Pat's number freaking memorized.
You should.
You should. Call him twice a week.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Thanks so much for being with us. Tuesday edition of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Rob Ellis, WIP in Philly. The Eagles with 2 first-round picks. Sixers up to Spit. Rob to join us coming up in a little more than 35 minutes time. It's time for Pat Kirwan. He of Moving the Chains, weekday afternoons on NFL radio. Pat joins us twice a week during the season, once a week during the off season, which I think has been reduced to a week and a half. Pat joined us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. How are you? How was your Easter holiday with family?
Oh, it was great. My son is down with his 3 boys, and you know, they didn't want an Easter dinner at home. They didn't want the lamb and the ham this time, as you asked me the other day. What they wanted to do is go to Pinchers on the beach and sit there and have a good time. So
That's a Florida Easter, Pat. That's how you get it done in Florida. There's no doubt there. All right, Pat, here we are, a week and a half away from the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And as I asked, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked David. There are 8 teams without a first-round pick. How many of those 8 do you expect to get back into the first round?
Probably none. I don't think, it'd be easy to say that, but I don't know, maybe 1 or 2, but maybe the bottom of the first round, somebody's trying to get in there. But some of those guys that you're talking about don't have the firepower to get there. And so you just look at what they have, and you ask yourself, how could they get into the first round? What are they offering? I think they'd be down to players. So think about some of those guys that are in that situation. Cleveland, there's a good-looking football team, but what do they have to get into the first round? 44, 78, 99? They're going to give all 3 of those away, or they're going to give? I think a lot of guys are getting nervous about giving away next year's one. So if you're trying to get in the first round, giving away next year's one is not going to be enough. The rule of thumb has always been a round higher than what you're trying to do. So to get in the first round, you're going to be talking about giving away next year's one. If you're Cleveland, next year's one, 44, and maybe even 78. So I think when it comes right down to it, it sounds like a great idea. It's hard to do. It costs a lot. And then I don't think a lot of guys see the draft in a way that you have to get in there for a lot of things. And getting up to the top 10, probably impossible for those guys.
You said Browns, that's a good-looking team. Do you think they're a receiver short? Like, do you think they, whether it's get a hold of somebody in the draft who comes in and contributes, like you were talking about, could they possibly package picks and move up? Would they do that for a receiver? Or do they need to There are some veteran receivers out there, including one that they let walk. I look at Cleveland and think that, one more receiver to go with Cooper probably, then they're done.
I like that. I think if in fact Jarvis is still looking for $20 million for a year, he won't be the guy that's coming there. That's for sure. So let's go to a pick at 44 and start looking. I'll look straight back. Jim and I have done a number of mock drafts in order to try to figure out the range of players. So when they went at 44, one was the next receiver taken that would have been available for them. The next receiver taken, and we've done this 3 times now, was at pick 57, Sky Moore. So it's really the run on receivers could leave them probably hoping. Now, if at 44 they run their own mock draft and say, we need to get to Dotson, who might be the very top of the second round, I could see that move go up to get him, because I do think they're going to be nervous. If they think they need a receiver, and I agree with you, they do, I think they're going to be nervous that if they sit at 44, they're not going to get the one they want. They're not going to get one that can line up and play. So I love the Penn State kid, who I think is going to be at the top of the second round. So maybe they do a deal to move up from 44 to 34. That kind of situation, I think that's more realistic and secure his services. But if they wait, my suspicion is going to be that they're not going to like what's on the board at 44.
Are we going to see a receiver in the first 10 picks, Pat?
Well, I think so. I think there's 2 things I said yesterday that always apply to drafts. And so one is, be careful about reaching, which is where the quarterbacks are. And after 2 or 3 corners, you'd be reaching. But there's safe picks. The offensive tackles are a safe group that you're going to pick and play. And I think the wide receivers in the first round are safe picks. So some of these guys that are going to make these picks are going to look right at that safe pick window, wide receivers and offensive tackles, and gravitate towards them, I think. So in the top 10, did I have one the other day? No, I did not. But 11, 13, 15, they all started coming off right there. But the safe picks were those offensive tackles, Neal, Iguanu, Cross, even Henning might make it. He won't make the 10, but he'll be right in there around 12 or so. Hey, look, Drake London, I wanted to talk about this. Gil Brandt has taught me an awful lot about how to handle drafts. I mean, he is the world's expert on it. He would never draft a guy as a receiver who didn't run a 40-yard dash. He just wouldn't do it. And he would perceive that as a second rounder.
Well, but both London and Jamison Williams are coming off significant injuries, and that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, how do you handle that as a GM? I mean, their tape is clearly mid to upper third, first round tape, but they're coming off major injuries. I mean, London's workout the other day, I remarked, I thought Mark looked faster on tape than he did. So how do you handle that as a GM?
Well, first off, Mark is quite fast. So
going from the couch to the refrigerator, that's about it.
I don't know. And you're pretty fast on the golf course, too. I'm a little suspicious of London, that he might be a 4-6 guy when healthy. A lot of people I know are suspicious of him as a possession guy. I think in the case of Williams Jamison, that no one's going to doubt his playing speed. I talked to Bill O'Brien about him, and Bill has relative comparisons that make me feel very comfortable that he's going to be fast enough and play well enough. And some guys think he's the best receiver in the draft, so he might not go first because of the medical, but a lot of guys aren't worried about him. I think Drake has still got some question marks around him on the play speed. And you know what? In this league, if you're a 4-6 guy, you're not getting away from anybody. So that's okay. I took Keyshawn. Keyshawn was a rebounder. He was a guy that could catch in a crowd because he was always in a crowd, but he could do it. Drake might be that guy. But there are people that are wondering now. And as I said, Gil just wouldn't take a guy like that. And he might pass on the Alabama kid as well, just because I don't have a verified speed. And when you do it for 40 years and you get burned a couple times because you thought he was fast, and when you got him, he wasn't, that you leave those guys to make those decisions, Dave.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, weekday afternoons. The show is called Moving the Chains with Jim Miller. Pat joins us twice a week during the season, courtesy of Pinchers.
Pat, I asked David the same question. I'll ask it to you. Detroit, if they wanted to go get a quarterback, 32 and 34, how high up could they go with those two?
Oh, I think they could get into the mix somewhere around 17. I think that they could, the chart will say something better, but I think in the real world, who wants to drop that far down and out? Some guys might, but I think they could get, and if the quarterbacks fall the way I think they're going to fall, I love when I read guys think 5 quarterbacks in the first round. What'd you have for breakfast? I don't think so. But I do think that you're going to see, like in our last, we had 2 mock drafts. Kenny Pickett was going in the 20s. Malik might go early. All of a sudden, he's a hot name. But I do think if you're at 32 and 34 and somebody that you like, and I like 1 or 2 quarterbacks that might fall right to you at 32. Depends on how they feel about the Cincinnati quarterback. And then someone is going to be calling Detroit to bump into that spot, probably. Everyone seems to want to do that. I used to want to do it. I used to love to try to sell it. But I do think you can get a quarterback with 32 and 34. You can move up and get the quarterback of choice.
Well, Lamar, the Ravens traded back in at 32 for Lamar. Vikings traded back in at 32 for Teddy Bridgewater. A couple of recent examples of that in the last 10 years. It's interesting you picked 17. 17's the Chargers, and they think they're close, but moving from 17 down to 32 or 34, and the Lions move up maybe to get a quarterback and steal them away from the Saints or whoever else. That's pretty fascinating that you mentioned 17.
Well, we do. Jim and I do spend some time trying to coordinate the realistic trades and where are landing spots. You got to weather a couple of storms. Carolina, there's a storm there. Quarterback, there could be one at Seattle. As another place where there's a storm for a quarterback. We could make case for a lot of teams, but then I do think you got to start thinking about Pittsburgh. So guys are looking at those things and knowing who they feel like they have to jump ahead of. Atlanta might take one, but I don't think they're all going to do it. I think some of them are thinking, and let's see how they fall into place here. And maybe as I get to the second half of the first round, if they're reachable, then I'll make my move. And I think teams like Carolina, as much as they want one, do you really want to take one at 6? I think they try to move down and take one, but we'll see. I just don't think the quarterbacks are that good. Again, reaching and, safe picks. Reaching quarterbacks and even corners and even some pass rushers after the first 2 or 3. You'll be reaching for guys that maybe 5-sack guys. So I'd be careful on the quarterback thing. It all sounds great until you sit there and your owner says, so this is our franchise quarterback? No, I didn't say that. I just said we need a quarterback.
Pat, over or under, are there 20 first-round grades out there?
No, usually there's not. It's usually, Dill and I debate this every year. And in my mind, in this draft, I might say there's 10. And he might say there's 9. He's pretty hard on as a true first-round grade guy. So we should define it while we're talking. To me, that is a guy that you already know is going to start on opening day. You're going to remove any players that make money at his position, and you have full intentions that he's going to be in the Pro Bowl by his second year. You start putting that parameter on what is a true number 1, I think you land up with about 10 or 11 guys.
He's Pat Kirwan. He will join us coming up on the other side. We'll ask him just where teams are in their draft planning. More with Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, moving the change. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. More with Pat next. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Everybody back north, Pat?
My family, my son's here with his three boys.
Oh, they're all here for the week?
Yeah, they came for the whole week, so it's been great having them around.
Gonna get out fishing?
My buddy Steve that I own the boat with, he is taking them out on Thursday. I got too much work with getting ready for the draft, and I can't go all the way down to Marco and then get back here for a 3:00 show.
Yeah, it's
in no preparation. I can't do it. But Steve, my buddy, and Sean, my son, are very good friends, so they're looking forward to their day together.
Is that where you keep your boat down in Marco?
In Goodland, yeah.
Okay.
I split it with Steve. My brother was Steve's high school football coach, and then Steve moved down here, and we became very close friends. He likes football. I have him watch tape and stuff, and he played college football, some small school in Indiana. But he is a dock builder, number one. He builds docks all over the place. Number two, he's a really good mechanic. So I said to him, look, I'll put most of the money up for the boat. You take care of the dock and the boat and the maintenance and the engine.
There you go.
And it's worked out great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been terrific. And he uses the boat a lot more than me. I might go out 10 times a year, maybe. But he's out a lot. He lives right in Goodland, which is a crazy place to live.
Yeah, Pat, a lot of people wondering with the USFL how likely it is that you have to change the name of your show. No chains in the USFL, Pat. About 5 people.
Yeah, well, then we'll just change to pulling the chain. No, I'm not really spending any time with the USFL till the draft's over. Plenty of time to catch up to those guys. But, when they had the league before, I had to scout it. I scouted every one of those leagues. And we found guys. We got really, it was always interesting. They'd come back from the USFL. We signed a couple of those guys, but they were exhausted at camp. They were all beat up. That was the problem with them. You always find a gem here or there.
We like the pay structure. Apparently they get $4,500 a week for 10 weeks. And I guess they got paid for camp. And there's an $850 winning incentive per game.
Yep.
And then if you win the championship, which is just 2 playoff games, everybody gets an extra 10 grand. So in theory, you go about 6-4 in the regular season. And if you win the championship, you'd make around 60 grand.
Yeah, I think it's fair. And they had no alternatives. None of those guys were really in the NFL anymore, or people were trying to sign them, but they're playing football. They will be evaluated. And people will put the junior pro personnel guy on that. And that was one of the first jobs I had with the USFL stuff. It was with Tampa. I was in charge of, when we knew that league was going to fall apart, I was working overtime on that stuff. And remember all the good players that came out of that. That whole guy that center up in Buffalo.
Kent Hall, right?
Him.
Yep.
The little linebacker down in New Orleans. Jim Moore brought half of his team with him. So
Sam Mills.
There were a lot of guys.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny, though, when you try to tell an NFL defensive coordinator, we should sign this guy, Sam Mills. Well, how big is he? Well, he went to Montclair State. He's
Right.
5'9".
Exactly. Right.
I learned that, salesmanship was an important ingredient to personnel work.
Well, the Giants were good then, and they brought in a starting center and a starting punter off of, on a team that had won 11 games and gone to the playoffs.
Yeah, there was a number of good players. It's funny, I had so many friendships that started there. Billy Q. Harrick and I are very close friends to this day, and he was the assistant GM at the Philadelphia Stars with Carl Peterson.
15 seconds.
All right, coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, Rob Ellis from WIP in Philly to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. Pat, where are organizations right now? The draft board's set. If not, where are they?
Well, it's set, but I say this every day. The board, the literal board, is magnets, and they're magnets so we can move guys around, and they will be moving. Most of it's in fine shape right now, and you're not going to be moving a guy from spot 10 to spot 100, but they'll be tweaking of that all the way up to the night before the draft, which sometimes can really backfire on you. But so in general, the board is set. But there's still a couple of outstanding issues. Some of them are character, some of them are medical, and some of them are flat out ties. Talking to Rick Spielman the other day, we're talking about vertical boards and horizontal boards, and really ultimately, how do you break ties? Because a lot of times your grading system will leave maybe 5 guys with the exact same grade, which we talked about the other day. So you might have those little grades. Okay, let's take the 5 guys with an 8.0. And let's see if we can sort them out. And sometimes we sorted them by position. So if there were 5 guys with the exact same grade, the quarterback was on top of the group, then the pass rusher was on second on that, then the left tackle, and then a cover corner. And if none of those positions were in the group, then we just put them down and said, we'll take the guy we need. But that's how we did that. So the board is basically set. The visits are not over yet. And the visits have multiple reasons for them. Some of them are smoke screens. I mean, people are always intrigued by all that stuff. A lot of guys are only going to visit guys that they don't have enough information on. And then you're really on the phone trying to set up potential trade scenarios. A team like Kansas City, you look at their firepower in this draft, I think they have 13 picks. And they have 5 in the top 85 or so. And there's 2 in the first round. Now, there's a team they can take 29 and 30 and just go get what they really want. So when I hear Andy Reid say, we're going to be about the same without Tyreek Hill, is he talking about play calling? Is he talking about formations? Is he talking about production? Because if he's talking about production, I'll challenge him on that one. I know defensive guys are quite relieved that Tyreek Hill is gone, and I don't think they perceive Hardeman or anybody else yet in that category. So they could be intrigued if a guy like Olave was all of a sudden reachable, I could see them jump up and take a guy. So Andy Reid has been a pretty good of a match, and he's got a lot of guys in this league that work for him at one point. They're called relationships, and he's got them all over the place. So I could see him moving around a little bit.
Pat, how many teams are in the smoke screen mode where you just said bringing in a guy just for the smoke screen? Because it seems that after a while, teams like that would be found out. GMs that fake it would be found out. Or is it a revolving door of who's trying to run the scam?
Well, I think some of us, their answer when you go, you're not looking for a quarterback. So let's say the Chargers bring in a quarterback. My friend Desmond Ritter. People will say they're not drafting a quarterback. They're not. But a lot of times, if they have an open debate in their own draft room about is he a good kid or a bad kid, is he a smart kid or not, you might bring him in thinking, in 4 years, we might be looking for a quarterback, and this is our last chance to legally talk to him. And we have a question about something. So you could use a couple of your visits on those kind of things, setting up the future, if you will. But smoke screen stuff, look, Tim Bryant says the time, no one from the Bears ever talked to me. Outside of at the combine for about 5 minutes, I wasn't really, and then they drafted me. So it happens, but I think the smoke screen thing is the fans are always fascinated by it. I don't know how much goes on because, believe me, you're in the draft room, you're trying to finalize the board, you're having a debate over something really important like the first round stack, and in comes the kid that you brought in for one of the 30 visits who's, a 5th round pick, but you didn't have a medical on him, so you got to get him in there. Or he didn't go to the combine. There's another group. And then you try to go in to tell your personnel director and your GM, hey, could you guys take a break? This 5th round kid that didn't come to the combine, I'd like you to spend 15 minutes with him. They look at you like, what? Get out of here.
The veteran wide receivers that are still available, and I know he's not your favorite guy, but you do respect what he can do on the field. Odell. If I'm a Green Bay, if I'm a Kansas City, I don't care that if he's available before Thanksgiving. I mean, I would think that those would be the teams that would be willing to, A, a chance to win again, but also B, hey, we'll give you a short-term deal for maybe a couple more bucks than what other people are trying to get you for AAV-wise on a longer-term deal. And you're going to be our hired gun. You're essentially going to be our trade deadline acquisition. Is that what you're thinking with him?
It's what I'd like him to think I was thinking. I'd like to have him on board with that. And he might at this point, but he also knows Father Time is ticking. He's got medical history now that's significant. But he also saw those major contracts. He won't go to a bad team. I think we can all agree on that. He's not going to some mediocre team. He's going to a team that he thinks is going to the Super Bowl so he can get a full postseason in and enhance his value for a full big contract the year after. So would he take a risk of a low deal to get quality exposure? Maybe, but Odell, I like Odell. And he's, after Jarvis Landry and Odell, ironically, 2 buddies from way back, then, if you need a guy now, that's a whole different story. Someone who's going to take Jarvis needs a guy now. If you're taking Odell, the issue is what you said, David. It's like he won't be ready in November. So the team's on the bubble that, oh man, we're not sure we're a Super Bowl team. The Chargers, not that they need a receiver right now, but there's going to be a lot of teams that won't qualify in Odell's mind, and then there's going to be teams that don't believe Odell qualifies in their mind because of it. If you need a guy right now in the slot opening day, why aren't you just throwing some money at Cole Beasley, and say, come on, we need you. So I think the parameters are tough.
Pat, we mentioned the receivers that were there. What roster is Baker Mayfield going to be on when the draft happens a week from Thursday?
Cleveland. That's a bad answer, but I think it's the real answer. They're not going to cut him $18.8 million. I still think there's a chance for a team like Detroit. Dorsey's in Detroit. Dorsey knows him. Dorsey drafted him. they would never do it if they had to pay full freight. No one's going to take them at full freight. So as soon as Cleveland admits they're going to pay $10 million, which they might as well do, because they're going to still save money that way. I think then Detroit could be in it. I think we'll know during the first round of the draft if 3 quarterbacks go. Well, there's 3 teams that aren't taking him. And I think that's what will happen. But sooner or later, the 5 teams are going to take a quarterback somewhere in this draft, and that'll eliminate all of them from the Baker deal.
All right. I hesitate to bring this up. We don't have a ton of time left. I was thinking about this the other day. All right, 30 seconds. If Kyler's going to hold out, if you're Arizona, do you say to Cleveland, listen, you cover 2/3 of it, we'll take them off your hands, and you say to Kyler, this is how we're going to play the game, okay? You're going to hold out, we'll go get somebody to replace you.
I'd like to do that to him, but I don't think they will, because I don't think they really believe he's going to hold out. It's astronomical money on his rookie. We both know guys that have pulled this trick or attempted to pull it land up playing for nothing. He eventually is going to have to play. And when they give you the old, well, I'm going to come in week 10. Well, by week 10, you have expired all of your money. Now you're playing for free at the risk of injury. So he'll come in and he'll play, and then they'll start talking about his deal, or they'll dump him if he didn't play well. So
all right,
he has a lot to prove.
Pat, as always, appreciate your time and your insight. Have a great week of shows, and hopefully we can catch up again at the end of it.
I will talk to you guys on Friday. Good to hear from you, man.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, Moving the Chains, brought to us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Rob Ellis next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, KM, and we had thought about that, about the poll question being that easy and what have you. I think we did USFL late last week. Didn't know if we wanted to go back to that well again. It is a weakness of ours. We've got a few. We don't tease as effectively as we should. And some shows are really good at poll questions. We're not.
What I want to know is if anyone has any excuse not to watch the NBA now. I mean, it's the best.
Yeah, they don't like it.
That's
it.
And Felipe, I watched a good chunk of NBA this weekend. I don't like the product. I don't think the product's very good. And I'm not trying to be a dink.
I know.
I watched it, and I watched it hard. Brooklyn and Boston's was good. It's not great basketball to me. It's just not. I know the players are better in the NBA. I prefer the college style to the NBA style. I wish they didn't commit felonies in college basketball.
Right. That they had the freedom of movement of the NBA.
A little
right.
more freedom. Somewhere in the middle is where I want the movement, though. I don't want a foul called every time it's so arbitrary. And you know this.
That's because you watched the Sixers game. That game was ridiculous.
No. I watched Boston, Brooklyn too. I watched first half of that game.
I know.
I watched Miami. No. They had 4 possessions of which guys are reaching in, grabbing the ball. Everyone's a reaching. Every damn the first quarter of Brooklyn, Boston, there were 14 reach-in calls that they didn't call. They were letting Kyrie and Durant get mugged. And then all of a sudden, they're calling 4 fouls away from the ball that have nothing to do with anything. It's just arbitrary. That's all. I love basketball. Okay, that was my first love, was the NBA. So I was not hockey first. I was an ABA, NBA guy. I loved this league.
Were the Pistons in the ABA?
No,
they were NBA.
The Pistons sucked. My youth, till I was about 10, 12 years old, all the Detroit teams were god-awful.
Dave Bing.
That was the best Piston. Yeah, he and Lanier. But that's even really before my first Pistons that I remember is they drafted Isaiah and Kelly Tripucka.
So in the new episode of Winning Time that came out last night, they're on a 3-game road trip where they go to Indiana, Detroit, and then Boston. And they lose the first game in Indiana, and then they go to Detroit, they expressed, we got it. We're facing the bottom of the barrel. The Pistons, they're the worst team in the league. They suck. They lost by like 15. And then they go to Boston and they win. In the Garden.
And you may be right, Mello, because I took a lot of time.
DC, they were. Sorry, Mark. The Grizzlies T-Wolves game was good. It was.
Yeah.
It should be good, though. They both play at the same pace. They're both young and athletic. That nobody cares about the series. It will be a very entertaining series to watch.
I really like that matchup.
I mean, nobody's emotionally invested in any of the players except this much Ja Morant. No one's invested in any of the teams. But if you like hoop, it's a good series.
I mean, Anthony Edwards is making us be invested in.
Well, come on. There's one game. Let's take it easy.
No, come on. He's really good.
His outside shot's inconsistent, but he is really good.
But it's improving.
What's interesting to me is that between the play-in game in the first round against Memphis, is Karl Anthony Towns is having a hard time.
Yeah.
Life's a little different, big fella. Life's a little different. They get to mug you this time of year.
He shot well in game 1, though, I will say. But, yeah. No baby shit in the playoffs. Look, man, you know who else's outside shot wasn't that great? D-Wade.
No, true. The one thing I liked about the Boston-Brooklyn game, though, was that there was a lot of driving to the basket.
Calling Rob now.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Rob Ellis, we got the problems on our end worked out today. We didn't get them worked out on Thursday. And so we said, Rob, please come back. Give us some mulligan. And he's kind enough to. 94 WIP in Philly. He also has a new YouTube sports show from noon to 3 every day, along with a few other gentlemen. Follow Rob on Twitter, RLS Sports. Rob, David, and Mark, once again, thanks for doing this. How are you?
David, Mark, good. Listen, the timing last week, it actually worked out for everybody, right? So I was on a college tour with my daughter, and we were making our way all the way from Virginia to South Carolina. I think I was at like Clemson the day we were supposed to talk. So everything worked out well, and ready to roll this morning, guys.
Well, I hope it was a sensational trip. That's a special time. So I'm glad you got to do that with your daughter. Just general. Give me the Eagles, in your estimation, the Eagles' biggest needs heading into the draft.
Defensive line. They were the second worst team last year in getting to the quarterback and sacking the quarterback. To me, that's what it's all about. I mean, they signed Hassan Reddick, which is great, which is a really good move, but that's not enough. You got Brandon Graham coming off a torn Achilles at 34. You have Josh Sweat, who, in my opinion, had an okay year, but not a great year. And beyond that, you don't have a whole lot. You have an aging Fletcher Cox. You need defensive line help. That is priority one for me, getting to the quarterback and helping that defensive backfield, because that was a huge, huge problem for this team last year.
All right. I'm Houston. I'm at 3. Thibodeau's on the board. I turn to you and I go, give me 15 and 18 and you can have them. Would you do it?
I'm not giving up 15 and 18. I already gave one first rounder up. I want the ammunition of 2. I would not probably. Thibodeau scares me a little bit too.
I'm with you.
There's a little bit of concern for me. Yeah, there's something there that worries me with him that I'd be careful with. Now, he's not going to fall anywhere near where the Eagles are selecting, so I don't expect him to be an Eagle, but I wouldn't give that up for him.
Who would you give it up for? I mean, how high would you? What if the safety from Notre Dame starts falling and gets somewhere? I know the Jets may be interested. Would you go to Seattle at 9? I mean, is there a player that you think Philadelphia should go up and get if he's there? Because they do have good resources to move if they want to.
No, they do. I'll tell you the guy I want. I want Jordan Davis. I want Jordan Davis all day long. I really, you could throw a dart at a couple of those guys on the Georgia defensive line, and that's the direction that I would go. You mentioned Kyle Hamilton. I love him. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I've watched this kid play his first 3 years. I don't worry about what his 40 time was like some do. I know the kind of ground that he can cover. Just look at the interception against Florida State last year. He's a guy, especially considering Rodney McLeod is now signed with the Colts. If he's falling, which I don't think he'll quite get to that point, but if I have to make a move up a couple of spots, I would do that. I would probably couple one of my ones with a later round pick, not the other first round pick, and jump up and get him. I love him. I don't subscribe to the fact that you can't draft a safety all that high. I don't buy that. He is such an impact player with that size that I would 100% take a run at him.
Well, my thought is you probably got to get ahead of Washington. All right. That do you call the Jets with their second first rounder at 10 and say, listen, I'll give you 15 and I don't know. I mean, and the Eagles and Joe Douglas, they have history. Maybe, that could be doable there, Rob, where you move up ahead of Washington, because the thought is that he's exactly who Ron Rivera likes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he gets past Washington. I think you would have to make that leap up there. The Eagles mentality has been one where they've typically not taken linebackers high. That hasn't been a priority. They haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round since 1979, just to give you a little example of that. And safety hasn't always been a priority high in the draft either. So I don't know if they would do that. I think you and I would, but I don't think they would. But you're right about the connection there. Joe Douglas was Howie Roseman's right-hand man, and they've done things in the past. So that's not out of the question that move gets made.
By the way, haven't taken an outside linebacker in the first round since 1979.
Jerry Robinson out of UCLA. That's how long ago that was.
Wow. And Dick Vermeil, the coach who came from UCLA, probably had a lot to do with that. Wow.
He recruited him. Exactly right. Yep.
Wow. Rob Ellis, WIP in Philly, along with Noon to 3, a YouTube TV sports show on a daily basis. Follow Rob on Twitter at @REllisSports.
If they have to stand pat and just draft where they are in the first round, in your estimation, what would be a great draft for Philadelphia if there's no movement?
A corner and a defensive lineman. I wouldn't discount a receiver. Now, they've gone down the receiver road quite a bit. They've almost turned it into, the Matt Millen Detroit Lions at this point. But they've, I don't think you can be scared off by that, because they've whiffed a couple of times. Arthega Whiteside, who was a second-round pick 3 years ago, is basically a special teamer and nothing more. His numbers are horrendous for a second rounder. And then Jalen Reagor's been a flat out bust. So they've whiffed twice. Devontae Smith is a real deal. I'm a firm believer in him. But I think that's in play. I would say it's less likely than maybe a corner or a defensive lineman, but it's definitely not out of the question. I would prefer they go defense. My objective this whole offseason was to improve the defense. But at some point, you do have to give Jalen Hurts some help. I mean, right now, he's going to battle with a receiving core that I would say is in the bottom third, and that's being kind in the NFL. Beyond Devontae Smith, it's a whole lot of nothing. It's Reagor, it's Greg Ward, it's Quez Watkins, it's, and if your audience is saying who, I don't blame you. It's just a bunch of guys. So they need to get better there. They have a really good defensive line, a really good running game. Dallas Goedert's growing into a quality tight end, but they don't have enough wideouts. That's something, though, I think could be addressed in the second round. I would rather go defense.
Boy, and I don't know, David. They're 51 in the second round. I don't know if that's going to be a spot where one of the good receivers is still there. They're getting to the back end of that second round where the run on receivers is going to happen.
Well, Rob, how about they spend a little bit of money? Bring in a Jarvis Landry, get your receiver that way, and then just draft, hell, if you do that, you might even be able to, with your second first-round pick, take Lindbaum, the center out of Iowa. I mean, just, draft at 15 and 18 line of scrimmage, but why don't you spend a little bit of money there, Howie? Come on, you got it.
Well, here's the other interesting part of this, right? So they were apparently, and both sides have kind of, acknowledged this to an extent, but they were very much in on Calvin Ridley until the gambling thing came down. So there was at least an admission that we need to get better here. The other interesting part is there's a lot of disgruntled guys right now, former second rounders who are unhappy with their contracts. Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown. It looks like there's opportunities out there. That's where, guys, I would be willing to sacrifice another one of those first rounders and some more to land one of those guys. But you're right. I mean, the mentality has been, other than Reddick, which wasn't, an insanely big deal, they've gone very conservative financially here this offseason. But that would be you're right. I mean, all the names you bring up, and Landry's another guy who's just out there. Well, you could improve yourself.
All right, Rob. First off, the deal for McLaurin won't happen because they won't do it in the division. But the other two are in play. But you know what it'll cost you? It'll cost you 15 this year, and it'll cost you one of your first rounders next year.
Yeah, it will. And for that kind of talent, I would do that. Now, here's the thing. I think we've seen a lot of sort of drunken sailor spending on wide receivers, Christian Kirk among them, and other guys who I think are just good, but far from great or special. So I can't kill them for some of these, moves that have been made that they weren't in on. But at some point, you're going to have to address this. You know what it reminds me of? I was talking about this yesterday on the air. It reminds me of the early Donovan McNabb days when he had James Thrash and Todd Pinkston. And we're all saying, Andy Reid, get this guy some help, man. Come on. And he stubbornly wouldn't until he finally gave in and made the trade for T.O. It's sort of feeling like that for Jalen Hurts right now.
The irony of Andy Reid not wanting to throw the ball and get more receivers just kind of hits you right in the face when you make a comment like that, Rob. Let's switch gears to the Sixers. Did you think it would be this easy to get to 2-0? This so far looks really dominant by the Sixers.
I did not. I thought they would win in 6. That was my prediction before the series. And I thought last night, despite the injuries, that Toronto would come out and play them tight. Like the way the game started, 14-2 or whatever, I thought it was going to be down to the wire, probably final possession kind of game last night. I'm surprised. I mean, everything is clicking right now for this team. All the question marks we had going into the playoffs, James Harden, what were you going to get out of Tobias Harris, et cetera. You knew Embiid was going to show up. I knew Maxey was going to show up, but there were a lot of other guys that I had no idea, and they have all come to play. And Danny Green last night dunking. Danny Green looks like Fred Sanford, moving around half the time. That's some of our younger audience saying, what is he talking about? But, I'm shocked at the way that they've come out and played. And I got to give Doc Rivers a lot of credit. I think having that week to prepare really helped them. And Toronto, it's obvious Nick Nurse is so desperate, and he's been such an embarrassment in this series with this crying that he knows his team is just undermanned, and he's trying anything he can.
Well, with the way Maxey and Harris have played the first 2 games, I don't know about you, Rob. I thought that the Sixers window was this year and next year, but maybe, just maybe, there's some length to this, window, if you know what I mean. Maybe it's 4 years instead of a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, James Harden looked like a guy who you really had to question whether or not you wanted to extend him and sign him in the offseason, re-sign him. And look, I'm not getting nuts after 2 games, but he's looked a lot more spry. He's still a really good passer. I don't think he has the same explosion that he had in years past, but right now, and he's got a really good thing going with Maxey, and it's you're right. I mean, beyond Toronto, and I'm not counting anything, I think Toronto's going to come out and just throw everything they have in the kitchen sink at them on Wednesday. But, you look at what this looks like in the East, trying to get past the Heat, trying to get past Boston, trying to get past Milwaukee. I mean, it is a brutal conference. If they play the way that they have been playing so far, and Embiid is as dominant as he's been, they absolutely have a chance against anybody if they continue this. It's got to be a team effort. Like Tobias Harris for a lot of the year was nowhere to be found, but he's been really good in this series.
Well, Rob, I think we're all of an age in which we can remember the Eastern Conference of the 80s, in which maybe not in the first round, but sometimes, but by the second round, Philly, Milwaukee, and Boston all had to go through one another. And then Detroit and Atlanta and the Knicks made their runs. And we look at the East this year. This is as deep and as sexy an Eastern Conference as we can recall, since really they've gone to a best of 7 in the first round. I mean, think about it for Philly. If they get by Toronto, it's likely Miami, and then it's the winner of Brooklyn, Boston, or Milwaukee. That's just to get to play Phoenix.
No, you're right. It does have that feel. It's got that same sense that we had in the 80s, and then it progressed into the 90s with the Knicks and the Bulls. But I think you hit the nail on the head with the word deep. I mean, you look at what these teams can throw at you coming off the bench even. It's going to be a battle, and you got to really, really be playing at a high level, or you have no chance here. The Nets-Celtics series to me is fascinating. Those two, I think, are just going to beat each other into submission, and whoever survives, what are they going to have left? I mean, I think the Heat are going to roll. I don't think this is going to be much of a competition for them, but yeah, that one's going to be one to keep your eye on for sure.
Rob, congratulations with the Noon to 3 YouTube show. Continued success with WIP, and hopefully we can talk again. And all the best to you and your daughter in college.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure talking. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Rob Ellis, you can follow him, RLS Sports, RLS Sports on Twitter. Kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Did you do the tour with your daughter? Or did the wife do most of it?
No.
You did it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she did one, but after broadcast a college basketball game, drove her in the middle of the night. And, we did the tour the next day. Then I took her to a gymnastics meet, Florida, Georgia, later on that night. No, I was.
You were dealing it then.
Darn right. I was accumulating points, baby. I loved it. Basketball coach at the school that she chose gave a speech to the prospective students on the roof of the dorm, gave out his cell phone number to all the incoming freshmen and say, hey, if you need any advice, you need any help, here's my number. Don't be afraid to call. One of the more amazing things I've seen.
That is pretty cool. Of course, he no longer is the men's head basketball
That's
coach.
not true.
Okay.
Still there. Still there. Funny, though. Good line. Good show today. And we're not done. Bonus hour for those in the 239 coming up. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. But Tony Fiorentino, Pat Kirwan, Rob Ellis.
A lot of needs in Philadelphia. I think the Eagles could be salty in that division, but they've got to get this right.
It's interesting. They finished 7-3 in their last 10, but they only beat one team with a winning record last year, and that was the Saints. So they didn't beat a playoff team all year. They got cap room. Their roster's better than you think. But where are they going to go? What are they going to do? How aggressive are they going to be?
And I don't know how many teams are going to want to trade. I mean, I think they could get to 6. I know they could if they want to get rid of both, because Carolina wants to move from that spot. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Absolutely. And they would much prefer, in fact, Carolina would probably begging Philly to do that deal. Hey, thanks so much for listening. The bonus hour is next. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Bobby Regan retweeted it. Said, hey, we're in the tournament.
Feeling that Twitch response by David Moulton right there. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, bounce.
Yes, he has to do it virtually.
Why he didn't get?
He's unvaccinated. Here's my question. Didn't we have an on-location draft last year?
NFL?
Yeah. Was not a virtual draft. I know it was on location. Wasn't it in Cleveland?
Yes. It was on the street. It was outside.
It was outside.
Yeah.
Correct. They built a little amphitheater there, you know, structure, but I thought it was in Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was Kuiper on location last year? I thought he was, because McShay wasn't, because McShay, whatever the hell happened to Todd McShay, he got removed like 3 weeks before the draft.
Wait. You're bringing us up because we're having a virtual draft again?
No.
Oh.
Mel Kiper can't go to the draft. And my question is, wasn't he at last year's?
My question is, can he fly without a mask?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's my thing. I thought Kuiper was part of their draft coverage on site last year. So why can't he be then this year?
Because we're stupid.
Well, it's not us. It's Disney's policy.
Disney, the mouse.
You know, hey, listen, Sue, I'm going to be working for in 5 months. And if they say I got to wear a mask, I got to wear a mask. Mouse. Yeah, I think he was.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because you guys were once, part of quote unquote ESPN
Never.
Southwest.
No.
We
were part of ESPN Southwest Florida, but that's just an affiliate.
Right.
We
It's
worked
just
for
an
Beasley
affiliate.
Broadcasting. We worked for Fort Myers
Okay.
Broadcasting. We
'Cause
never once worked for ESPN.
Because I tried to explain this to my father, and I couldn't for my life. What does ESPN like? ESPN obviously does not send a single check to anyone here.
No. In fact, it's the other way around. These guys, I believe, pay ESPN to be an ESPN affiliate.
So they're
now
paying.
you get a lot of programming.
You
with
pay
that.
for the programming, and that's if you pay. Some stations don't pay.
But at one point, I know this station had to pay because the station we went to work for was going to take them away and became a bidding war for ESPN.
Okay. So
I doubt they're paying them anymore, but I don't know that.
So Beasley is paying basically for the ESPN name.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Now you have to carry a certain amount of programming to be able to put the 4 letters in your name.
Right.
If you only carry half their programming during the day, or then you don't get to call yourself
right. Because again, like I said, I interned for the afternoon show over the summer, and everyone was like, "You're working for ESPN?" I was like, "I am not working for ESPN. No,
you are not.
No, I am not. No."
Well, they ain't paying us.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying
Nobody
us.
is.
No.
30 seconds.
No, they're not. Where do you want to go here?
I think just a little revision.
Miami is sexy.
Recap.
You like the Apple story.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm intrigued by it.
Eli Apple?
Yes, that's it.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour for everyone in the 239. If you're listening beyond, we appreciate you doing that. You can listen to all 4 hours and watch all 4 hours on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Follow us, subscribe to us, and get ready. A week from Thursday is the NFL draft, and we do a 5-hour extravaganza. Maybe 4.5, but we plan on 5 hours. We drink a little, we talk a lot, and we give you the draft live as the picks are happening. I mean, we don't show it to you because, well, then we get in a lot of trouble. But we tell you it as it's going down. In fact, a lot of times somebody announces the picks on Twitter before they're announced on the screen. So
we can be had. I will take this show on the road if someone's willing to pay enough money.
And I put the opening bid at like $53.74.
I hate to break it to you. That ain't enough money.
Well, that's the opening bid.
You're going to have to move the period over just one. That's not going to cost much, David, but you're not getting us for $50.
Well, what about free food?
Again, you are no longer allowed to negotiate on behalf of Miller and Moulton because you would do the show and pay someone to go there.
No,
at the rate we're going,
no.
You're going to pay for food, pay for drink, and just ask people to come along.
No. Those days are done.
And put a big tip jar in front of us.
No, those days are done. Once I reached my mid-40s, I stopped paying to work. All right. I do actually now make people pay me. But, Mark, $53.74, free parking, and
where do you pay for parking to go to a restaurant? Enough with you in the parking.
And all the food and drink. I'm just saying, the price of food and drink these days.
It's getting expensive.
It's a little more than you're giving it credit for. That's all.
Bacon. I bought bacon the other day. I almost fell over. Going to be on Spam before we know it, David.
Had some great bacon over the weekend.
Little off topic, but you were talking about parking. Do you know how much I paid for parking at the Heat game?
Yeah.
35.
Over. I'm guessing higher.
50.
There you go.
Paid $50 to park, huh?
$50.
Did you pay that much for the ticket? Because I know you were in the nosebleeds.
Well, the ticket was a little more expensive, but my dad bought it for me. So
look at that. This is how much they don't want to be around the kids. All right.
They went on vacation.
They went on vacation, and here, we're pay for your heat tickets. We're out of here.
Whatever you do, don't come home before or after the game. We don't want to see you.
Right. We're done. Happy Easter. Love you. 2 weeks, you're graduating college. We'll be there.
They're still not home.
Well, they're allowed to.
Oh, yeah.
They're the adults.
Nah, they earned it.
They pay the mortgage.
Yeah, they deserve it. Whatever. Have fun.
Darn right they do. Darn right. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Do you know the story that actually intrigues me the most? And you may continue to beat me about the head and chest with it, kind of like the $53.74 offering to have us host our draft show.
And by the way, this show's not limited to just restaurants and bars. If you want to pay us enough to come to your house and do the show, I'm willing. I don't know if Moulton is.
Really? That'd be awesome. Somebody's backyard, all right, with a lanai. Be really awkward.
They're
gonna
have to prepay.
Ooh. And remember,
they will have to prepay. Money will have to be in hand before I show up anywhere.
Remember, we do the whole first round, which means we're yelling at one another at 11:30 at night. You can't kick us out after your team's done drafting.
When does the draft start?
7:30-ish.
Bonita.
Maybe 8. They try to start it earlier, though. Try to be done by 11. The networks are carrying it. They can't do it anymore.
Imagine we get one of those Bonita Springs houses on the beach. Little sunset draft action.
Wait, did he say we?
He did.
I thought he included himself in.
He did. Hey, look, he wants to work for free on the draft. He's more than welcome to. We don't get paid for this.
Well, that is true. Felipe will definitely work for food and drink.
I mean, all the talk I'm hearing, the draft is like the biggest show of the year. I mean,
well, on Twitch it is. It is. It's our biggest show. No question about it.
Why would the producer of the Miller and Moulton show want to miss the biggest thing on the Miller and Moulton show?
Look at that. Look at that. Effective sucking up right there.
That was well done.
And he argued it really well. Why would the producer want to miss the biggest thing you've got going on? I'm part of the team, right, guys?
Yeah.
Hey,
right?
guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. I'm part of the team.
Put me in, coach.
So it's reported that the NFL Sunday Ticket is going to Apple TV.
Now, what I didn't realize is that will not start until the 2023 season.
Correct.
There's one more season left on DirecTV.
Well, under the old TV broadcasting deal. That's why Fox has this year's Super Bowl, and then they have one again just 2 years later. Well, that's because this is the last year of the old TV deal. It's why the cap has not gone up to the staggering amount that we think it's going to get to, because the new TV deal doesn't kick into next year. That's when your $208.2 million cap's probably going to be about $240. And then it's going to go up $20 million a year every year. We'll be at a $300 million salary cap by about 2026.
Couple of things about this Apple deal and why DirecTV might not be shut out completely. If you're in an area without high-speed internet, how you plan on watching the Sunday Ticket? By the way, the sports bar element of this is also another big part of it. And the other part, David, that I think you're going to be intrigued about, and I know I am, as we get to live betting and betting on every play, and as the gambling pipeline starts becoming wider and wider with what's being allowed to gamble on, it's a huge delay when you're streaming these games.
Oh, I'm aware. I don't know if you're going to be able to bet every play in football. I don't. I think maybe the best you could do is bet the possession, how you think the possession is going to end. Because there's enough time, even if they don't go to commercial break, you got the punt, the new thing, and it's close to a minute. The clock doesn't start right away, but close. So you're talking normally at least 40 seconds and upwards of a minute, and then, okay, here we go. So maybe some stuff can be bet during that time. But I am fascinated by this. Remember, this is the National Football League that this year on Thursday nights, Amazon exclusive outside of the local market. In Miami, the game will be on, depending if it's a CBS or a Fox game, it'll be, I believe, on CBS and Fox. In Miami only, and then the opponent only.
And I'm just curious, and I don't know if you know the answers. I hate asking this question because I like to know these answers. West Palm going to get the Dolphins game? Because like here, we're in the Fort Myers market. We will not get either Tampa or Miami.
No, it's got to be Amazon.
Now, you know, Lauderdale and Miami, I'm confident are both going to get that market.
Yeah,
but once you get to West Palm, you're in a different TV market.
You darn right you are. In fact, you're in a top 50 different TV market. Right. No.
So I would think they wouldn't get it.
Correct.
But I don't know if there's a 100-mile rule like it used to be with the blackouts. I don't know exactly how the local TV market works anymore.
I would guess right now. I mean, I'll look into it now that you brought it up, but I would guess. I mean, heck, the Fort Myers Naples market's a top 60 market. I mean, we're not that much smaller than West Palm Beach, and we're not getting it.
We're not.
And I would think West Palm's not getting it either.
See, and I would think they might. And I don't know. And that's why like I said, I hate asking that because it's just one of the things I'm curious about with this whole thing.
See, the problem is that, like, for example, let's say it's a Dolphins-Bills game where you've got the Buffalo market. Well, about 50 miles east, you got Rochester. And so you including Rochester in as well, or do they have to go Amazon? I mean, I would think that they've got to be pretty hard-lined about this. And Amazon's paying enough money to have the NFL draw the line and go, no. If it's a Buffalo-Miami game, you will get it in the Buffalo market and in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale market. Sorry, Rochester. Sorry, West Palm. But to me, what I'm fascinated about is this is the NFL once again being a broadcast leader, if you will. This year, they're going to force many people to take in sports via streaming.
And even, you know, David got ESPN Plus years back to watch some FGCU basketball.
Right.
I have watched very little. I know how to do it. I'm not an idiot. But, I mean, there are some that technologically just don't get it. I get it. I don't do it. And now, as you said, we are forced is the right word.
And if Thursday Night Football is not enough to force you, I get it. But for many a fan, almost a year and a half from now, if it's on Apple, the Sunday Ticket on Apple, I mean, that's going to force you. So, and to me, this is a help for all of the streaming services. I mean, if the NFL's going this all in with streaming, then Katie bar the door for, like, the Big Ten deal is up. And it's being negotiated right now in amongst the major networks. Well, I got to think now, if you're the Big Ten and you were not seriously considering one of the streaming services, even though they put oodles of money in front of you, well, now you could go, well, damn, the NFL Thursday nights on Amazon and Sunday Ticket's going to be on Apple. Why are we against streaming services again?
And someone's going to be in the room going, guys, we did everything about households and everything was cable. That model is dead. The money that's fallen out of the sky this time is from where? The streaming services. So to your point, David, if you're the Big Ten, you have to be looking into the streaming realm.
And the Big 12 and the Pac-12 are then going to follow, and certain networks are obviously going to get left out of the Big Ten game. And most, if not all, of the streaming services are going to be out, and everybody's looking for live sports programming.
Where do we go, and how much are the networks willing to pay, and then how much are we willing to cut the cord? Not a problem for Felipe, but there's still a lot of us that are the ones that are spending the money.
I mean, don't laugh. I mean, I hope that at a community college or a four-year university, they actually offer a course into, okay, this is how you get your streaming services. These are the shows you want to watch. This, that, and the other thing, you should buy this package. Because I would need it. I would sign up for that course.
I do know. I'm sorry, Felipe. I do know, just because my daughter's in school, the Lee County sends me the continuing ed stuff. I'll recommend that they give a streaming class because that's one that we could all sign up for.
I mean, no offense, but just watch a commercial.
I mean, no offense. I mean, no offense, you dumb blankety blank.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No offense. My buddy just texted and said he was doing so well till he went no offense. I mean, no offense, but you dumb blankety blank.
Hey, pal, no offense, pal.
Thank you, Johnny Mac. That's all. Some of us just need to be educated on this. That's all. It's a little overwhelming. I got this streaming service. I got this. I got this. I got that. Man, I don't want to have to pay for all of them individually. I'm trying to reduce this bill. This bill's almost got a 3 as its first digit. It's damn near the biggest bill I have right now. Boy, Louis Riddick is not a fan of Baker Mayfield. They keep doing Baker Mayfield or Malik Willis. Malik Willis. Baker Mayfield, Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett. Please pass the butter. Well, but I think everybody knows what I mean. Like there are certain, like if you go the Hulu route, you get, what is it, 30 channels, 50 channels. And, I understand that I'm going to have to buy certain streaming services to see certain programming, but there's a base programming that I also want. My wife likes a couple of CBS shows. She likes a couple of NBC shows. I'm going to have to, if I were to ditch Comcast, I'm going to have to go.
I don't think you can do better than the bundle you're getting on Comcast.
Probably not. But then now I'm going to have to buy.
You'll have to add. Jeez. You get that $99 bundle or whatever.
Golly. Hey, Dandy, believe it or not, Netflix not having news, I'm fine with that. I don't need to watch news. I can get my news. I don't watch the cable news shows unless there's a natural disaster.
Fam, I was too.
But as soon as they got Thursday, you have to know how the NFL does things. The NFL wants as many partners as possible. So once Amazon got Thursday, most people in the NFL knew that they weren't going to get Sunday. ESPN Plus went after this hard, the Sunday ticket. Yeah, I know. They have all these college student streaming deals. That doesn't do me any good.
Ten seconds. Buy an Apple TV and get YouTube TV.
May have to.
It's a good deal.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 20 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. It is all coming up. I watched a decent amount of the USFL. I admit it.
Well, the first step is admitting that you have a problem.
Stop it. Come on now. How can somebody like me, who is in favor of the concept of spring football, not buy into the reality of spring football, which is what happened this weekend?
Do you have any chicken salad and or pizza?
Did have pizza.
The Maulers have issued a statement. In case you're just joining us, Pittsburgh Mauler running back Devon Smith was cut from the team for requesting pizza when chicken salad was being served.
And so apparently, I guess the commissary there offered chicken salad. He didn't like it. Somebody walked in with pizza. He asked for a slice. They told him no. He was standing there looking at them. They said, "Is that going to be a problem?" And he said, "Yeah." And he got cut.
He was cut.
It's ridiculous.
Now, the Maulers have since issued a statement.
When you have to issue a statement over cutting a guy from the USFL, things are not going well.
They are not. They claim that it was his third team rule violation, basically of the day or of the time, and what was caught on video was not the whole story, and that Smith has already apologized to the coach and asked for a spot back on the team. I don't think Smith's buying that, because his tweet yesterday said, "I said nothing disrespectful or did anything disrespectful." I was fired over remote control use, so I understand where Devon Smith is in this whole thing.
Do you know the most rude firing that I suffered? And when I think about how many times I've been fired, I mean, you need more than one hand to count the number of times I've been fired from just broadcasting jobs. We're not even getting into the other stuff. But I was bartending in college and just after college and delivering pizza. So I worked nights, and an opportunity arose to do morning radio in a station about 25 or so miles away. It was in Mount Pocono. And obviously, during the winter, it was not necessarily that easy to get from Scranton to Mount Pocono. It was connected by a highway, but it oftentimes had a lot of snow on it. But, I'd be working and bartending until 2:30 in the morning, because the bars close at 2 in Pennsylvania. and had the first morning news thing had to be at 6 a.m. And so I would say, listen, if I'm asleep in the parking lot, like when you get in around 5:15, wake me up.
Fair enough.
Right?
You're driving 2:30 in the morning, get a couple hours of sleep.
And so that's what I did one day. I drove and I got in the parking lot, 3-ish, and I went to sleep. Well, nobody woke me up. And then it came time for the news at 6:02 or whatever, and
you're not there.
I'm in the parking lot. They know I'm in the parking lot.
Someone wanted your job.
So the boss comes out, all right, and knocks on the window. And first off, the boss was never there before 8 o'clock. And this particular time, the boss was there at like 6:10, 6:15. And he knocks on the window and startles me. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. And I'm thinking, why did nobody wake me up? And he fired me. And I'm like, hold on a second. This is the deal. This is the deal. Everybody in there knows this is the deal. Come on. I come. I get a couple hours sleep. Then I do the news. I do it 6 to 10. I go home. I nap. Come on now. So that one bothered me.
I can see where that would bother you.
Come on now. I'm in the parking lot.
Someone wanted you. If the boss fired you, someone wanted your gig. Someone didn't like you. Someone didn't like you sleeping in the parking lot. Someone had a personal problem with you that they probably shouldn't have had.
Makes no sense. I worked on local TV. I mean, trust me, at $4.50 an hour, man, it's tough to get, quality help. That's about what I was getting paid too. That's not an exaggeration because minimum wage at the time, I think. Well, in the mid 80s, it was $3.35.
$3.35, yeah.
And I don't know if by like 89, 90, if it had gone up.
Maybe, but if it did, it was only $4 an hour.
Right. So I'm making $4.50 an hour. I'm not full time, no benefits, no nothing. Working about 25 hours a week, sleeping in the parking lot 2-3 mornings for a couple hours and going in, putting together the news. That one bothered me.
I can see where it would.
So you got fired over a clicker?
I got fired over a clicker. You got fired because no one woke you up.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
How many people were doing the morning show with you?
Like 3 others.
So, like some sort of producer, a couple of hosts, and you.
That's exactly what it was. It was a producer, co-host, and then I'd come in and do the news and the sports. And I just did it to be on the air. I was like in Felipe's situation. I was maybe 2 years older than Felipe. Tops. I'm part-time TV.
That's a bad beat right there.
I agree.
That's a backdoor cover for you losing a job, and I don't know if I like it.
And to explain how I lost another job. So I was 23. I think it was the 3rd job I'd already been let go of. Got fired for the one job because I got hit by a Domino's pizza delivery person and I got fired.
That right there is the oxymoron of all oxymoron. You, a Domino's pizza delivery driver,
right?
Getting fired because your vehicle by a Domino's pizza delivery driver.
All because the boss drove the satellite truck underneath a bridge and took the satellite dish off it. And then he comes back and announces the next person who's in an accident is going to get fired. We're all standing there going, well, that was you, idiot.
Looking back on that, I think you could have sued the ever-living what out of that station.
You think?
You made a grave error right there. Did mom ever tell you, because at this point, your deal, did mom ever tell you at 23 you've been let go 3 times in the business, you might want to pursue another line of work?
My grandmother, her mom, did say to me, she pulled me close. She said, I love you. I love you dearly. I would do anything for you. You've been fired a few times. Just so you know, the next time you get fired, it's 100% your fault. I don't care what the extenuating circumstances are. Just so you know. And she basically said to me, we have supported you through this lousy, striving to be mediocre career of yours. But the support ends if you get fired from this job.
The day before my second wedding, my dad said the same exact thing to me. You blow this one, it is entirely on you. You're never going to do better than this.
Right.
Do not screw this up. You can screw up a lot of things, but don't. If you screw this up, this is 100% on you.
Just so you know, we're on her side entering the relationship.
Right.
So as long as you know that, this should go swimmingly.
Knock on wood, 10 years November.
And That was even before you produced a grandchild for them.
Well,
I mean, right for then at that moment, it was you were totally not needed,
and haven't been ever since.
And folks in the Twitch chat room wondering about the statute of limitations on this. It'd be about 35 years. It's covering a minor league baseball game in Reading, PA. It was 2 hours each way. I'm driving home, getting 4 innings of a Williamsport Mets game. I have no idea why the boss sent me 2 hours to get 4 innings worth of highlights. I'm driving back, get T-boned by a Domino's pizza person. I damn near went through the windshield. It took me 2 days.
Did you think you were going to get fired?
Are you kidding me?
But even though he announced the next person in an accident to get fired, did at any point in your head go, I hope this idiot doesn't think
I had the police report that said it was the delivery driver's fault. I had to go to the hospital and get medical attention. No, at no point did I think I was coming in to get fired.
Should have come in with a neck brace.
I was the coach who's meeting with the AD who thinks he's getting a contract extension. And they sit down and they go, this meeting's not going to go as well as you thought.
You won 20 games.
Or 22.
Right. You still get fired.
It happens.
Did you cover the Reading Fighting Phils that day?
I don't know who Reading was an affiliate of. And they probably were AA Phillies. And Williamsport was AA Mets, I think, at the time.
I have a Reading Fighting Phils hat for obvious reasons.
I came in my softball outfit. It was a Monday night. It was softball night. Monday's the only day of the week I had off. And John Nugent was the sports director. He says, David, I need you to go to Reading and shoot. And I'm in a softball outfit.
Not even supposed to be here today.
I got the stirrups. I got the team shirt on and everything. So it's bad enough I'm at the game dressed like, look at him. So what does he think he's playing? Getting made fun of. Then I get in the car, I'm driving home, I get in an accident, I get fired?
Who knew Clerks was about David Moulton?
Making $3.35 an hour, by the way.
Not even supposed to be here today. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when. What's on tap? That's next. Miller and Moulton.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So some MSNBC reporter is basically Malcolm Nance has basically joined forces with the Ukraine. Like, he's covering the war for MSNBC. He's shooting Russians with guns right now.
Okay.
Right.
Well, they're trying to kill him too.
No. I'm not. I'm right there with you.
Apparently, the Heat game tipping off early tonight, about 8 minutes earlier than normal. Like, their 7:30 games normally tip at 7:40. They're saying tonight's game will tip at 7:32.
Fantastic. NBA games starting at the times that they're listed to actually start. Wow. What a concept.
Well, it's not done for the fans. It's all to get done by 10 o'clock for the second game of the doubleheader.
Network stuff. I get it.
Yep.
Whatever. I just don't understand why you can't have that network stuff after the first game. And then you get a brief break, and then you can actually watch the tip-off of the second game. What do I know? What commercials? NBA is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, there's no. They were done with that campaign before Felipe was born.
I was gonna say, the NBA, the campaigns that I know is, this is where blank happens. This is where whatever something, the NBA big campaign. Where greatness happens, all that stuff. Sometimes I dream that he is me. Got to
Whoa.
see that's how.
That's enough.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa.
Cool it.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Seth Everett to join us on the show tomorrow. You know, since Seth and I were kind of yelling at one another last week, people are like, "Oh, you guys okay? You know, Seth going to come back?" Yeah. I mean, come on now. The personalities of Miller, Moulton, and Everett. You don't think that there are times that we're going to yell at one another? My goodness, I'm surprised we've yelled at each other as infrequently as we have.
It's a great point. It's the first one we've had in a while, actually, and it was a long time coming.
It's like a Miami Heat huddle.
You know what? Make a dadgum good point.
Very true, because there's a lot of love in that huddle.
Just don't know who's going to assume the role of Udonis Haslem. That's all. Without further ado, let's do this.
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
Well, let's go back over 250 years, shall we? 1770, British explorer James Cook first, they described it as sights, Australia. So he basically discovered Australia 252 years ago today.
Yeah, and let's take some prisoners here and dump them off.
Right. Big day in our nation's history. 247 years ago today, the American Revolution began. It began in Lexington. Later in the day, shots heard in Concord, and it was referred to as shots heard round the world. You know, they did this before Bobby Thompson.
Right.
See what I did there? Right.
It's a great Schoolhouse Rock on that.
There was a lot of great Schoolhouse Rock. All right, about Lexington and Concord?
Yes.
Paul Revere and two others captured by British troops on this day as well, trying to warn everybody. The British are coming, the British are coming. 1897, first Boston Marathon was 125 years ago today. It's the oldest marathon in this country. It was inspired by the first Summer Olympics the year before. They ran the marathon, and so the folks in Boston said, yeah, it's a great event. We should do it.
Let's have someone run for 3.5 hours and call it a race.
John J. McDermott. I almost called him James. John J. McDermott was the winner of the first Boston Marathon.
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
2 hours, 55 minutes, 10 seconds. 1900, highest scoring opening day baseball game in Major League history. The Phillies beat the Boston Braves 19-17-10.
Ooh, that late safety always does it.
1927, Mae West found guilty of, quote, and you'll be interested in this, Felipe, obscenity and corrupting the morals of the youth, unquote, because she was in a New York play entitled Sex. She was sentenced to 10 days in prison, fined $500. Remember, this is 1927 now. $500. A decent amount of money. This launches her career. Hollywood takes an interest in, who's this Mae West gal? She must be smoking. What did she do?
Darn right. When she was good, she was good. When she was bad, she was better.
And when she got out of jail, she became a star.
The good, the bad, and the better?
1948. Happy birthday, anniversary. ABC is 74 years old today. The American Broadcasting Company debuted on this day in 1948. General MacArthur, remember it was just a week or so ago, he turned down the commissioner's job at Major League Baseball? Well, a week or so later, he retired on this day in 51, ended his military career. 1960, Major League Baseball begins putting names on the back of their uniforms on this day in 1960. In 63, Johnny Cash released the single Ring of Fire. He did not write it. June Carter and Merle Kilgore wrote it. June would later become June Carter Cash. The Astrodome ceiling mark was painted on this day in 65 because the Astrodome had opened a week earlier, and the outfielders complained, and infielders as well. They couldn't catch any of the fly balls and the pop-ups.
Too bright?
The sun coming through.
All right.
So they paint the outside of the roof. Here's the problem. It was a grass stadium.
Killed the grass.
Darn right it did. Hence
Astro turf.
There you go. So it all started in a way on this day in 65 when they painted the Astrodome ceiling.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
1967, 55 years ago today, the Beatles sign a contract to stay together for 10 years. Oops. I'd really like to know more about this story. They signed a contract with each other? Who'd they sign it with? Capitol or whoever the record company was? I mean, but they signed a contract in 1967 on this day to stay together for 10 years.
Yeah, it didn't work out that well.
They had already performed their last concert together by this day in 1967. So on this day in 1971, Charles Manson sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Sharon Tate. Rosie Ruiz, 40 years ago today, Mark, you remember her? She cheated in the Boston Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Ran the first couple miles and snuck out.
Right.
And then showed up. And of course, they televised the race, and people were like, and they all blamed themselves. Like, we lost track of her. No, she cheated. They arrested her after first declaring her the winner, but then they arrested her. 1986 marked the rematch, Michael Spinks and Larry Holmes, a 15-rounder. Everybody thought Holmes won the rematch. Spinks got the decision. And after that, Larry basically told Larry Merchant in the ring, and I quote, and I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, they can kiss my big black ass. And I know I got that quote right.
No, you got it right.
I know I got that quote right.
I don't think you're going to get any trouble. It's just a quote, David. Just a quote.
31 years ago. That's the rule in growing up. You could not swear in my house unless you were directly quoting someone.
Well, I'd have been quoting lots of people.
Well, but you can't be making it up, though. It's got to be a direct quote. You got to be able to back it up. I mean, Mark, I got grounded if I cursed in the house.
All I had to do is say GDSOB and say Dad said it 5 minutes ago. It was his catchphrase.
Holyfield beat Foreman in 12 rounds for the title in 1991. 3 years later, remember, Foreman comes back, knocks out Michael Moore. But when Foreman began his comeback, people thought it ended tonight in 91 when Holyfield beat him. They said, okay, that'll be the last we see of George. 1993, South Dakota Governor George Mickelson and 7 others killed in a plane crash. 27 years ago today, the Oklahoma City bombing, 168 people killed, over 500 injured. 26 years ago today, in 96, the Texas Rangers scored 16 in the 8th inning to beat the Orioles. 25 years ago today, Orlando Pace was the first overall pick of the draft by the St. Louis Rams. And it was a year ago today, Mark, Patrick Marleau broke Gordie Howe's record for most games played in the NHL. Jack Pardee, Alex Webster, Jane Mansfield, Dudley Moore, and Elliot Ness are all no longer with us, and all were born on this day. Tim Curry is 76. Acclaimed actor, producer, director, and best known for most of you as Mr. Frank and Footer.
That's about right.
Frank Viola's 62. Al Unser Jr. 60. Harris Barton's 58. Troy Polamalu's 41. Joe Mauer's 39. It's Suge night, right?
Suge night.
Suge night?
Yeah.
My bad. Death Row Records?
You got it.
I mean, he's in prison. He's been there for 4 years now.
Right.
And he's serving nearly 30 years.
Right.
But he is celebrating his 57th birthday.
In jail.
In jail, right. Candace Parker's 36. Maria Sharapova's 35. James Franco's 44. Kate Hudson is 43.
Oh.
Ashley Judd is 54. And Jesse James is 53. And that is today was the day.
All right. 3 omissions just because they all happened on the same day. First, Brian Johnson in 1980 gets the gig to replace Bon Scott with AC/DC. Blondie's Call Me is the #1 song in the land. And REM play their first gig as REM at the 1111 Coffee Club to 150 people in Athens, Georgia.
Wow.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
There's good, and then there's this. Andrei Stvanitzer is a Ukrainian businessman. He happens to be a millionaire. And his house was invaded and taken over by Russians. He found it out by his surveillance of his own home. And not only did they steal all his crap, they were then using his house as a base to launch missiles at Kiev. So he gave the Ukrainian military the exact coordinates to his home and allowed them to blow up his home to take out the Russians.
Damn.
Right? He says, it was an obvious decision for me. There's not much you can do nowadays to help military, and that was the opportunity that I had, he told Good Morning Britain. Good for you, dude. Can it get much better than that in the good area?
That is pretty damn good.
For the bad, we go to Bristol, Connecticut, where a man playing horseshoes in the yard fell. He fell onto the piece of rebar that was used as a horseshoe stake. The piece of rebar was 1 inch in diameter and 8 inches around, and it impaled into his lower torso. Firefighters were able to cut the bar and stabilize it and transport him to the hospital. He was conscious, alert, and the injuries are non-life-threatening when they handed him off to EMS. Fell on the rebar. I don't know if that was 1, 2, or 3 points for that, David.
Well, it depends on what yard line you line up at, Mark.
Finally, the ugly. We go to Memphis, where a 54-year-old woman ran out of gas on Interstate 55 between West Memphis, Arkansas, and Memphis, Tennessee. DOT came to check out the truck. That's when she showed back up with a friend and said, whoa, it's my car.
What'd she say?
Whoa. She said she left the Suburban because it ran out of gas and the man was with her helping her get some gas. When the officers began to inventory her vehicle, she says, "Get what you going through my vehicle?" That's when the officers noticed a little smell of pot. She ran out of gas with 230 pounds of weed, $17,800 in cash, some of the boxes stamped with labels saying it contained cannabis. Did I mention she ran out of gas on a bridge with that much in her car?
Matter of fact, you did.
She's an idiot, and she's the winner of today's Good, Bad, and Ugly on April the 19th, 2022.
3 NBA playoff games tonight. Heat hosting Atlanta, 7:30 TNT. They're a 7-point favorite. The middle games on NBA TV, it's the T-Wolves and the Grizzlies. Memphis trying to tie things up at home. They're a 6.5-point favorite. And New Orleans and Phoenix at 10 on TNT. Suns a 9.5-point favorite. There you have it. NHL tonight with less than 2 weeks left in the regular season. Whole bunch of games. Tampa Bay's hosting Detroit. The Panthers are on Long Island to face the Islanders. They've won 10 straight.
Yes, they have.
Have the Panthers. 10 straight. Wow. And a lot of baseball obviously going on. I mean, everybody's basically in action on a Tuesday.
Well, yeah, especially after 3 postponed games, I think the Mets are trying to get a double dip in today.
Yep, they're trying to do a 3-7. Arizona and Washington's doing a 1-7 doubleheader. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tune in those early games to see if you can count the number of fans that are in the stands. Because it'll be friends and family, to say the very least.
The Rays are at Wrigley, and the Marlins are hosting the Cardinals. And that's a 6:40 start. Greg Norman's 30 for 30 is tonight, 8:30 on ESPN. I will interrupt my NBA playoff watching.
That's going to be
for the Shark.
A DVR watching after the show tomorrow.
8:30 tonight, the 30 for 30 on Greg Norman.
Because it's all about the Heat, right, Felipe?
Come on.
I want to hear from the Shark. I'll be curious if they address any of what's going on currently.
I doubt
in his life and career, but he sits down and talks at length about the 96 Masters. I'm in.
What's the question they asked him? How would your life be different?
Yeah. And he rhetorically asked back, Well, how would my life be different if I won? Well,
he'd have a green jacket. Probably the same amount of money.
I think his legacy would be different. I don't know if his life would be different, but I think his legacy would be different. And he'd get invited to dinner at the second Tuesday of April every year.
Miller and Moulton, thank you so much for listening. We'll do it again tomorrow morning right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their